The Skiff. Look at this place, man. So there we go. I get a package. Now, this is from the person who is head of cybersecurity at Los Alamos National Laboratory.
Local residents should be checked for evidence that they are being symbiotically manipulated by surviving aliens.
I trust that that is a memo that was never supposed to be in public domain.
So this is not the only piece of paper that was...
No.
Okay. There's a whole other set of files attached to that.
Allegedly.
Is it stressful?
What, my life? There's a pattern of people disappearing.
Something bad happened to them?
Oh, yeah. If you mean by being murdered, bad, yes. I would love that smoking gun evidence, which does exist. I have seen it. So have other people that you know. And I'm not talking about one piece of footage. I'm talking about a lot of footage. But it is not mine to share.
What does it feature? Does it feature a disc, a tic tac, a tube?
Talking about a lot of different footage, Chris.
Tell me.
Well, yeah, sure. There's triangles, there's tic tacs, there's ovals, there's spheres.
And that you've seen?
Yes. So I think I have a little fear in me right now. So I'm like trying to speak thoughtfully. And that's hard for me sometimes. But there are consequences. And sometimes the consequence is just the pain you feel, that the crushing weight of what you know to be true and can't say is going to destroy and snap your legs and destroy your humanity. And I've seen that pain in people's eyes. And it's not a way to live, man.
All right, so in 2008, on the 4th of July, I was on a boat with my father, who's in the Federal Aviation Administration, 2 retired commercial pilots, and a current commercial pilot. And off to our right is a baseball field. And the field lights are on. From these 3 lights, we saw 3 cubes appear, and they were rotating, and then they just vanished after about 20 seconds, I would say. It was almost like they came out of the lights, and everybody in the boats that we were both tied to and the boats all around us, we all freaked out. Everybody saw this. It was incredible. And ever since then, I've been obsessed with the phenomenon.
Ramsey.
Corbell.
Magician.
Investigator.
Artist. Smart guy.
Same.
Intuitive.
Yeah, I mean, I could say a lot of the same things about you, sir.
Strong.
Yep. Good at jujitsu.
No, it was really bad. But I mean, you do something 10,000 times more than someone else.
Yeah.
And you got a shot.
It's the definition of a magician.
Is what?
Doing something putting an unreasonable amount of time into something.
Unreasonable to who?
To the common person.
Who's that?
Whoever you're trying to fool.
Or just the people not doing it?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Same, one and the same.
Do you try to fool people?
Yeah,
you do?
Of course. With magic, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, no, I think fooling them is a part of is one of the ingredients in creating wonder. But you don't always necessarily have to fool people. In fact, the best magic tricks is when people fool themselves. And the same could be said for a psyop, you know.
Is your aim to create wonder?
With magic?
Because you said
yes.
that okay.
Yeah.
Right. Magic with a G?
With a C. With a G and a C.
With a G and a C?
Yeah.
How do you turn this down? You're so loud in my head, Ramsey. For a long time you've been loud in my head, and I don't but I can turn you down.
You're too. Let me know if this is hold on.
Well,
I'm gonna do this. Yeah, okay, so
I want to have control of turning you up or down.
So this is me.
And this is me.
Yeah.
Go again, talk.
1 2 1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, you're loud, motherfucker. Right here.
Right there's good?
Ooh. That's like saucy. I mean, it's all good.
Yeah, I like the headphones because they they tend to lock you in. There's an immersion, and I didn't really get it before. And I was like, it's more freeing without headphones. But then the headphones makes it so that it's like kind of like blinders for your ears, where you're like, this is where I'm at. I'm not out there.
Blinders for your ears. This is where I'm at. Yeah. I now I'm experiencing that.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you're aware of it.
Well, now I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming to the quote unquote SCIF. I know you've been in a real SCIF. And tell me the difference between a SCIF. As someone who's never set foot in a SCIF, what is it? Is it empty?
Let's first be honest with everybody.
Okay.
You took me into a snow globe.
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure we're honest with everybody.
Yes.
And then you did bring me into this SCIF, fact?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, yeah.
So your question was, what's the difference of a real SCIF? Right, because usually people don't have to be in SCIF.
And they don't bring their phones in.
Yeah.
It's a big one, I think.
Oh, yeah. I wish I did.
Yeah, they probably check your pockets, though, before coming in, huh?
No, I mean, you go through, in some of them, there's an honor system. In some of them, there are metal detectors. And in some of them, there's more procedures done. But typically, if you're being brought into a SCIF, they already know that you're not going to be breaking the rules.
They assume.
No, they make sure to know. I mean, I can only speak from my own experience.
Right.
My own experience is I was never in a SCIF where all variables that were controllable were not controlled.
Right.
On both ends.
Right.
And there's a lot of SCIFs that I never went into.
Is it stressful?
What, my life?
No.
Oh,
I think you just answered that question. But getting into a SCIF, like that moment where you're like crossing the threshold, you're in this sensitive, compartmentalized information facility. It's, you hear about the things that go on in a SCIF, and the things that are talked about are obviously of the most sensitive nature. Do you feel that sort of reverence as you cross a threshold into one of these places? Do you feel anxiety, or is there like a sense of relief or release that there's nothing recording anything you're saying? Is there?
Well, that's not always true, that there's nothing recording what you're saying inside of a SCIF. That's not always true, first of all. Now you're asking me a personal question.
Mm-hmm.
And my personal feelings, if I can be completely honest now, which I can be, is that my personal feeling is I've never walked into a SCIF, once invited, that I didn't feel 100% comfortable. I wouldn't. In fact, I didn't.
You've refused to enter a SCIF?
Yes, sir. George Knapp and I refused to go into a SCIF.
This was mentioned in The Sleeping Dog.
Fuck, see, I don't have a memory for it because I just quickly, you're saying this way before everybody, and I haven't processed anything.
Well, I'll refresh your memory. You were invited into a SCIF, and then you were advised by your lawyer not to go, because your lawyer's like, if you go in there and you say this stuff, they might have a right to classify it.
You just made an assumption.
I did?
Yeah.
What was my assumption?
Nothing I could have said could have been classified.
Okay.
I'll explain it to you.
But the lawyer in the movie, you said that the lawyer, that was one of the things he warned you about, was that they can just basically classify whatever is said in there, and that way you're never allowed to report on it.
Okay, I'm not trying to be mysterious. I just have to be very specific, because now you're asking my brain to unravel something which I haven't really seen in a big way. So let's go there. Let's go into this one little tiny hair and let's split it.
Sure.
Okay. I was supposed to testify in front of the American public. My caveat to that, or condition, was that the American public gets to see some of what I've seen and some of what George has seen. A tiny fraction. Footage that is absolutely non-harming to American national security and Five Eyes national security. The difference would be no satellite footage, because satellite capability is a like a submarine is really classified, its whereabouts and the capability of satellite, if you look at what's out there in the natural world, is very limited, like extremely limited. So no satellite footage, if it had ever passed in front of my eyes, that's not something that is safe. Additionally, let's say there's 2 UFOs that swarm from the left of camera towards the right, kind of make a half loop around a Russian asset. But that Russian asset, not just being satellite or whatever, actually it was low visual, so not satellite, but that asset, they didn't know that we were and could see them. So that's a no-go.
I see. Right? Yeah, because now they're aware of, whatever drone or whatever satellite's looking at them.
So strategic surprise is one of the greatest threats that we participate with, dealing with on a daily basis as a nation and as Five Eyes. So when you have the ability to see and people don't think you can, that would be considered national security. Okay?
Yeah.
What I was intending to do, and I guess now I've said it a little bit in the movie, because the movie, remember, is a compressed amount of time.
Of course.
Yeah. So you get like the sentence that means the paragraph. So what I was talking about is I went through a lengthy many months process of this game of cat and mouse of like, okay, if I had seen anything that the American public should see, specifically 12 assets, I figure were, okay for people to see. No one piece of footage is going to prove everything to everybody, or even anything to anybody.
Yeah,
but you got to take your shot, right? So, and there's no reason why the existence of UFOs should not be classified. Nothing about that should be classified.
None that I can think of.
Now, when you get into the implications and the technology, 100%, like, nuclear science exists, but can't give you the codes on how to, right? So George Knapp and I were doing this dance of like, well, so I personally will testify, but what I have to say is not important. So saying is not important for me. It is giving and showing 12 assets. Now, the thing is, and here's the dance. How do you get into a locked room? And you're a puzzle man, so maybe you figure this out. I couldn't. How do you get into a locked room with no electronics and show what you think as a journalist? Because you don't got to ask permission as a journalist. You don't, but you can do a lot of harm. Not just to yourself, to other people, to our nation, that kind of thing. So let's just pretend, how do you get into that locked room? And how do you show in front of other people's eyes if it passes in front of your eyes, but you don't have anything?
Oh, that's an interesting conundrum.
Because you can't have something.
Yeah, I guess I never thought about that. That's a really interesting thing.
But they got to know that something is there.
Wait, so anybody who's been briefed on the UFO stuff has never been shown a video in a SCIF?
No, I didn't say that.
When I'm working on UFO cases or alien encounters, the issue isn't just missing or blurry footage. It's that anything I try to recreate ends up being inconsistent. With different looks, different lighting, nothing matches. And most AI tools actually end up making it worse. Like every generation feels like a reset. You're just prompting random things over and over. And that's what I like about Higgs Field Cinema Studio, is that it doesn't work like that at all. You start with one intentional frame, and that's where you sort of define the shot, almost like a director would. And then you take that frame and you extend it into motion by choosing the camera movements, the lenses, and even the actual camera type. And so instead of generating clips over and over, you're working from a fixed starting point, and that's what keeps everything consistent. Same scene, the same lighting, same characters, same locations, same perspective. Just different takes of the same shot. And for what I'm doing, it's actually super important to try and remain as accurate to the story as I possibly can. And if you guys want to try it out, I highly encourage you to check it out right now. I left the link in the description, and let me know what you think about Higgs Field. And thank you to Higgs Field for sponsoring this video.
What I said is, how I'm asking a question. If you're me,
yeah,
and you're George, and you've said publicly to the world that footage has passed in front of your eyes, but you don't have it, like it's not at your home. So if your home gets raided, it's not on your phone. So if your phone gets taken, so you have you have access, right? Because it's been in front of your eyes, and you predictably could have access. So how do you then Because, in order for me to testify, my condition is that the American public has to see what I want to show them, because my words don't mean shit. I mean, they do, but like, that's not the point of why I got nothing really to say.
Yeah, of course.
So how do you get in there and bring something? Because by the time you're bringing something, you've got something. So you have something.
Right.
Okay, then let's say you're there. First of all, you're a journalist. The obtaining is fine. Obtain and release. I've never leaked anything in my life. Now, sure, people have leaked stuff to me and George, and that's a crime. That's a federal crime. And it's got major punishment. And that's on whoever leaks stuff.
Yeah, it's not on you.
No, it's not. My wife's kind of reinforced that to me. That you can't, people make choices for better or worse, hopefully for better because they trust you.
Sure.
And the one thing I am worthy of is people's trust. So here we go. How do we get into that room? And then how do you show it if you don't have it, if you don't want to have it in there, because then you have it, all of that can instantaneously be reverse classified, even though once it's in the hands of journalists, it's already in the hands of journalists, and they have a duty to the public.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tricky line.
But me and George doing no harm to national security is important to us.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one more layer, you tell me how you get out of this escape room, okay? So now I've got a conundrum. I don't need to testify to the American public, but if I did, they would see 12 things minimum, okay? So I'm told by national security people, after months and months and months of doing this dance, but also filling up the fucking people they're going to testify, going through this massive vetting process with each one, I brought almost every single person you've seen in the UAP hearing up there, almost have I directly facilitated their sitting there. Almost. So with that said, I've got this responsibility, and I'm like, cool, let's see this through. Let's set this up. So we get notified that there is a SCIF, and it's under my terms and conditions, which is that these are the people allowed and must be in the room, and you tell me who you want, and I need to know their names now. I need to know who they work for, and the thing about them is they know that if they tell me a lie, I will find out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been the bane of the existence of the DOJ and everybody, every agency, is that somehow through magic with like a fucking normal spelling, okay? This spelling, okay? That George and I can do that. So then imagine this, all set up. And by the way, this is the one where they had another journalist that wasn't George Knapp at it before, right?
Right.
So it was for that. And then what happens is I get a call. I'm in the showers from a congressional person. And they say, we have a leak. Straight up, we have a leak. And I go, I know. And then I'm going to say, this person said, do you know who it is? And I said, I do. I believe I do. And then this person said to me, I'm not even going to be in DC. They're lying to you. And I said, didn't know. So I called my lawyer, my federal lawyer, who is Chuck McCullough III. And in that conversation, I don't think this is a good idea for you and George, Jeremy.
Yeah.
And he explained why.
Seems like almost like a trap.
Almost.
Yeah.
Exactly like a trap.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like standard operating procedure as well. Like, I mean, for this type of thing where it's like, hey, yeah, come on in.
No.
No,
it's not.
You don't think so?
No, I know so. There's supposed to be mutual trust. For example, I'll give you another example. When I say, I'm going to give you 10 witnesses to choose from to testify. Now, this is highly sensitive because you're not going to choose 10. So I'm revealing to you out of 52 cards, 10 cards, but you can only play with 6. So I'm like, there are 4 people that will be exposed that don't need to be. So I've got one rule. If you ever break it, I'm never doing this again. The rule is nobody, because they got a lot of staffers.
Yeah.
Nobody tells AARO, and nobody gets to know but the people in the room. And that's a trust thing, and that's the way it should and usually goes. Except every single one of them got exposed to AARO, and AARO went after them in different unique ways that I have documented and can prove in the court of law.
In what way have they gone after them? In sort of like public mocking? Is it like stalking, or is it threatening?
I'm talking about the unknown people that didn't testify.
Yeah, these are the unknown people.
Right.
Like how did they suffer repercussions or reprisals from, you know,
I didn't
these
say
staffers?
they suffered repercussions or reprisals. I said they went after them. So that means a few different things. Play the tape backwards, because sometimes I misspeak.
No, that's my bad for assuming, because you hear it a lot with these with witnesses, especially as of late. Matt Brown, and I assume Dylan Borland as well, because of the movie as well. You hear him saying,
Wait, but nobody's seen it yet.
After this,
okay, gotcha.
This will go up. People will have seen
temporal dilation. So I'm going to skip, and Chris Ramsey has a clock right there, but there's a dilation.
This
of time.
Is 2 months early.
I am positive there's a dilation of time.
Yeah, well, there temporally is. We're sitting in a bubble that won't be popped until May 18th.
I mean, it's like a month. No, so
2 months away.
No, May 12th.
Oh, May 12th is it?
May 12th, the bubble bursts.
Okay, well, we're sitting in that current bubble, but safe to say, Dylan Borland in that documentary is clearly shaken up by what seems to be people coming after him. He has a fear of people coming after his wife. He even asks you, on one of your calls, no matter what happens to me, take care of my wife. He seems really, really concerned.
He was. For good reason.
And so what I'm asking is, like, these 4 people, and maybe Dylan included, what sort of, because we hear it a lot, that they're being gone after by some, organization, some agency. But what exactly does that mean? Is it straight up like brass knuckles and like, hey, we're going to beat you out in the parking lot if you don't shut up? Or is it more subtle? Is it like a little wink here and there? Or is it very overt? Like, hey, if you don't stop this, we'll bury you in the desert. Like, what does that look like? Help me understand.
Right. So it's insidious, and that's the best word that I can use for it. And it comes in a variety of ways, and some are overt and some are covert, and then some are just almost seemingly inert. And it's really, so I would like to break that down for you, but I want to back you up 1 second, which is that Dylan raised his hand and got all the way there, and he testified. So clearly, I'm not talking about him.
Yeah. Although he did, get messed with.
And to be factual, actually, AARO was part of a significant operation to entrap him with a false, fictitious, I don't know the right words, just completely fabricated crime.
Really?
Yeah. And I don't know.
That's pretty serious.
That's real. And so now talking to you, though, time dilation, we're not completely through that yet.
Mm-hmm.
So that just started being opened.
By the time this airs, it might have been
I hope
exposed.
I hope. Well, I don't know. Man, this is going to take a little while. I apologize for this. So I don't know. And the reason I don't know is because my personal duty is to not harm where I live. And by telling the world what people in our country did to whistleblowers and who's involved from the king all the way down to the soldiers, that could harm our nation's, in my opinion, security, because it becomes a vulnerability for any adversarial nation to exploit if they know that we have dirty laundry.
Right.
So I don't know.
That's interesting.
And so this section of the podcast might be sped up to nonsense because I don't know. Let's find out. So now let me answer your question. Let's just get real terrestrial here, okay? What does it mean when whistleblowers or people are threatened by a multitude of private contractors as well as intelligence agency individuals, I'm going to say, because there are bad apples in a barrel.
Right.
And the barrel's good.
Yeah, not to blame the whole agency.
Right.
Sure.
Right. So what does that look like? Well, I think the way you define for me in the world of magic, there are certain key elements of like a show. You broke some shit down for me this morning, right? Like what your language is. Do people spell the word magic the same way? Kind of like that. Depending on the agency, each agency has a persona. So you can say a CIA persona feels like an orange mug that says the flying saucer. Okay. ODNI is like a glass of water. That's their personality. DOJ, FBI, ODNI, which oversees all intelligence agencies out of like, let's pretend the 16 in the United States, right? ODNI would be the top of that pyramid, allegedly. Allegedly, ODNI would have oversight in a pyramid all the way down to every intelligence agency within the United States, okay? Even ones that can only operate outside of the United States. So what does it look like? Well, it depends on who you're asking about. So AARO is beholden. Yeah, I'd say beholden to the Pentagon, but I would typically say AARO is beholden to ODNI. And I could be wrong, by the way. So I'm just a bearded guy with tattoos who has a great mentor. I get things wrong all the time. So I'm telling you now, I believe this to be the case. When I think about it later, I might change my answer. So if ODNI is running and it's got AARO underneath and AARO's doing the pressurization of somebody, okay, that's going to have a distinct odor, feel, and smell. So the way AARO goes about it is they will have, for example, a colonel, and they will call, for example, an active Navy guy. And the active Navy guy says, I decline to interview with you because I have said, so I'm going to somebody that did testify right now to be kind of safe about my words, but like Chief Wiggins, okay, he testified to the world, raised his hand, active Navy. So then AARO, after the fact, under ODNI, that is my impression, they would call him and he would respectfully decline an interview because he said, I told them everything I know. What are you interested in? And then AARO would say, well, I'm not interested in people. I'm just interested in events, right? So Senior Chief Wiggins would then be asked, like, so who was with you in that room when that video was taken? Now, I know they're lying to him already because I provided them every name that was in that room, because I provide a lot of people every name because it's public record, because it's not a classified situation, right? So now you've got this weird kind of pressurization that is beginning. And then if he declines again, and by the way, when they catch you on the phone and they pretend to be like driving in a car, they are driving in a car, but they're pretending like, oh, Mr. Magoo, everything's cool. They're weaponizing his answers to try to entrap him in something that isn't real, right? They're wishing, because they don't know. And that's what's so cool. They don't know. So they're trying to create a situation to pressurize him. Why? Because ultimately, they want to be able to shape the emerging UAP narrative. So they want to have control of any naval person that would ever even dare to stand up and raise their hand about UAP again. Not that they're not going to let them. Yeah. They're just going to shape it.
They have to, they got to put out the fires.
They need to do have control of the burn. So that is one way that you apply pressure, and that is the inert way. Nobody can get in trouble. Nobody is getting in trouble. This is a high-level thing. But what they're trying to do is spread a word on the wash that there are obstacles to you telling the truth in the Navy, because the things spread. Like when I kept Commander.
But that's so subtle. Like it feels.
I'm telling you the subtle one.
Yeah, it feels like that could almost be mistaken for, I guess, ignorance.
Oh, I didn't finish.
Okay.
Because then once you've declined, and then your superior gets a call, and that call is simply like menacing, and then the superior says, well, what happens? Because the Navy's they got the backs of their sailors. They got the backs of them. That's true. That's fact about the Navy. So then we'll say senior person, I don't want to identify rank or whatever, they'll say, so what happens if he declines again? And the flex will be, well, we'll go to Pete Hegseth.
Okay.
Okay. So they will go to...
Like just flexing that they have a direct line.
And you know his position.
Yeah, the Secretary of War.
Okay. So that was their flex, which made me fucking laugh. I got my sense of humor back when I heard that. Man, because that is the worst possible flex they could possibly do because it's such bullshit.
Yeah.
So now we're in the thick of that, right?
That's like, I'll tell the teacher.
No, well, sorry, I keep saying no, but yes, and we are going to get the teacher to sit you in the corner and you will fucking answer and you will interview with us, even though you've already said everything to the American public that you fucking know. And that's the end of the story, because they're trying to create a message that then flows through the Navy. Now that is the inert, right? I listed 3 types: covert, overt, I think I said, and inert. Is that what I said?
Sure.
Play the tape back. Okay. So that is like the most simple version of inert, right? Now we're talking about threatening witnesses. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I just want to know what they mean by that, because we've heard it a lot. We've heard about reprisals. We heard this and that. And it's kind of been like never, even, when Grush talked about it, Grush has said that, people have sustained injury and, casualties have been taken. But like it's always kind of been vague. Yeah. And I just want to know what exactly goes on with these interactions.
Right. So it is always going to be vague, because now we're going to move over from we're going to move up from inert, and we're going to move to I think we'll move to covert.
Okay.
So covert, what was the other one I said?
Overt.
Overt. We can go to overt.
Okay.
Let's go overt and then covert. Okay. So overt. You get a call, and on the other end of that call is, we are going to fucking kill you. Full stop. Hang up. That's just a start. Okay, that's overt, right? Would you agree that's overt?
That's pretty overt.
Yeah, we're going to fucking kill you. Hang up. Now that'll get in your head like a worm. Okay, so you get like a bunch of those.
You don't know where that's coming from?
Let's keep going. Overt. You tell me if this is overt. You're at a bar, and you're there with friends that can read. I say they can read the room. Okay, funny story about Auntie, but anyway, they can read. And there is a violently murderous, quiet motherfucker just sitting by you, and you can feel like pain, right? Like it hurts. And you're like, oh, it's fucking in my head, fucking chill out, man. Get a sense of humor, breathe, it's fine. So you are so used to this that you go to the bar, because you know all the locals. And you just ask, you ever seen this guy before? Nobody's ever seen this guy. Nobody. Server's there 10 years, never seen this guy. So you buy a beer, and you put the beer down right next to the guy. And you go, hey man, I've never seen you around here. My name's Jeremy. Here's a cool sticker. It's a joke, but it's not. It's good. That's fucking flying saucy, like that. And go, you live by here? And the mask, the charade just like vanishes, totally unmasked, right? Totally unmasked. And you happen to have a reporter watching who can read. And the individual says something exactly like, yeah, just down the road, but like that. And you're like, cool. So bullshit. And then that guy would say something like, very, very threatening, would stand up, walk away. Now, when I said bullshit, let me clarify. I didn't say like, bullshit. I was like, come on, man. That was my version of bullshit. So that is very overt intimidation, especially when you can find out later who that person was.
You found out who that person was?
I'm saying especially when you can.
Did you?
I'm going to decline to answer that.
Okay. Well, I mean...
I'm sorry.
No, I mean...
I need to hold something for myself.
Yeah.
For my own
So you may or may not have found out who that was.
For my own sanity. Right?
Sure. Okay.
So I'm not trying to be evasive. Give me the soda.
Could you take this guy in a fight? No weapons?
No.
He was big?
Yeah.
A huge guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No way. I'm dead. So especially when your friend follows that guy because he can read and was hanging out by a car watching everything, because I got good friends. I don't hang out with douchebags.
Yeah.
And they follow, and he notices that the guy's, because he's not like a trained guy. And when he notices, he walks up into the woods. Like he walked up into the woods.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah. So that's overt. Would you consider that overt?
When you called him out for bullshit, what did you say?
The exact words were
like watch your back or something, or was it?
No, I think what I said was I didn't say the exact words you said. I don't recall what I.
Yeah, you said like no way or whatever.
Yeah. I'm sorry, my brain this morning. Whatever I said before, if I said it, then it was in my mind as the exact. I don't want to put myself right there again because I'm just moving you through over.
Yeah, you were like, get out of here.
So no, I didn't say get out of here.
No, like when he said, I live down the road, you called him out on it.
Right.
Did he say anything back to you before he left?
Yes, and I already said it, and my brain is already.
No, you didn't say what he said. You
Okay.
said what you said. Yeah.
So let's just leave it at that.
Okay.
And I want to move forward.
All right.
I will do a disclaimer about my brain at the later.
That's fine.
My memory.
No, that's
how
fine.
This works. Okay.
I understand.
So I have to put myself there visually.
Yeah.
But I've already moved on. So now,
Jeremy, first of all, as someone who spent time with you, like I understand you don't have to keep explaining, your the way that you interpret how your brain works or anything. I get it.
No, I know, but your audience doesn't know me.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
I get it. And if they've watched the movie, which by now they would have, they'll get a glimpse into who you are.
Okay.
And how your brain works.
Okay.
And I think they can appreciate it. And I think, just so that you don't have to feel the need to stop and address it all the time.
Okay. But I usually have a pen and paper because I don't want to get off track when I answer your questions. I hate it when people don't answer questions.
Of course.
But I need to take you somewhere so that you really understand it.
You're pretty good at putting a pin in things.
Okay. So now, here we are. Would you consider, I've given you 2 now. Would you consider that overt?
I would consider that somewhere between covert and overt.
Right. So now we're there. It was covert before it was overt. Okay. It became very overt.
Yeah.
Okay. But so now I gave you one, which is like the calls. Then I gave you one where the guy kind of starts off covert and then is overt.
Yeah.
Now I've got another one for you to show you where the lines start blurring. So let's say you're standing somewhere and somebody bumps into you and marks you. Let's just marks you. We'll say, I just want to be
physically bumps into you.
Physically bumps into you and let's say puts something on you that marks you. Let's pretend it's a pin. Okay?
Sure.
Bumping you. Next thing you know, you're wearing a pin. Okay. So then later you come to understand the meaning of that pin, right? And so that is overt, even though nothing is quite said. Now, so there's another version. We're getting into the real covert. Yeah, we got to look around our backs.
I'm making sure the camera's rolling.
I know, so I was giving you cover.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to be.
He's making sure the cameras are still rolling. These are brand new cameras. Chris Ramsey's nervous that the screen's going to go out.
Okay.
Boom. All screens going. Okay. So now we're kind of blending the covert overt. You said brass knuckles. Sure, people get beat up. They get fucking killed all the time for what they know. That does happen. And that's not just UFO related. That's like we have in the mob.
There are thugs all over.
Right. In the mob. You get killed simply because you know something. You will be murdered viciously to send a message. But sometimes when people just vanish, that is also a message to the people that need to hear the message. Poof, you're gone. You're McCasland. Poof, you're gone. You're so-and-so. Poof, you're a guy at Los Alamos. You're gone. Poof, you were working on a science thing and all of a sudden, poof, you're gone. You're gone. You're gone. Question is, where'd you go? Now, we find bodies sometimes. Question is McCasland a 3-body problem? Because there were 2 others that people are linking to him in some weird kind of way. And did it have anything to do with UFOs? I have no idea. I'm not read into that. But I'm just saying sometimes people vanishing is more of a message to those that need to know than if somebody gets killed. So the worst thing you could do is like stab Dylan Borland in the neck 20 times, in public, because then that would make a lot of questions. So if you really were trying to hurt somebody, then the best way to do it is covert.
Just make them go away.
No, because remember, that's a big message too.
Oh, it's a big message too.
Right. So it would be covert. And the best way to get a result is to have people do it for you without them even knowing it.
How do you mean?
Okay. So you've got somebody that is mentally unstable and already dislikes Chris Ramsey. We're going to put it on you so you can feel it. Okay.
Okay.
So this guy is a UFO fanatic, and this guy is unstable, and this guy fucking hates you, Chris. Okay, easy. This guy also has a history. And that history allows him to be close to intelligence. But he fucking hates you. And he ain't wrapped so tight. But that's why they chose him in the first place. For other jobs, you have to be a little bit of sociopathic tendencies to be
loose
chosen.
cannon.
Not loose cannon. They can't have that. Ask that guy that was in prison from the CIA, that dude who was famously a whistleblower about torture.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name? Come on, man, my brain. Kiriakou, John Kiriakou or something. So this guy was famously CIA, and FBI tried to entrap him because he told the truth to the world that we were waterboarding and torturing people. So he served out of choice 4 years in prison as a CIA guy for, disclosure, going on the news of this fact because it was the right thing to do. And he'd do it again, right? So kind of reeling me back into the story about you. So you've got somebody now that has close ties to intelligence, who is not a loose cannon, just has sociopathic tendencies, but is not sociopathic because you can't control those guys, okay? All that needs to be done is to instigate, quietly poke, prod, inflame, and then that person gets the bright idea to really hurt you.
Right.
So now that person is, as an emissary, doing what's wanted by these intelligence agencies because he already doesn't like you, already has significant training, and just needs a little poke and prodding. That's covert.
Is that because, those type of psychological tactics, is very reminiscent of like MK Ultra type, behavior as well.
So I've heard.
Is there anything that leads you to believe that is the case, or is it a hunch?
No, I know. I know with 100% factual.
You were
certainty.
told outside of that person that this is happening by like some credible.
So the answer is yes.
Okay.
But hold on, let me process the time dilation, and if I can ever be clear on this.
Yeah.
Just let's pause the podcast right now. I mean, let's keep rolling, but just let me pause.
Sure.
I'm going to speak freely, but we need to check if this can be said.
Sure.
Okay. You will check that with me.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. So I'll speak freely. Ask my mom. I was told by an agency, they brought a sincere, credible, and urgent threat to my life, to me. And so there's some, I don't want to reveal certain words because then all of a sudden that's the agency. You can imagine, but so imagine.
I mean, there's not too many agencies here.
Imagine you have to sit down with your mom and your wife, and because you've had to move twice because of threats to your life, most of them overt, some covert,
sure.
Like moving into my new house and having it show up in a tabloid called dirt.com. Okay, so, and only 2 people know because you bought it in a blind LLC, and those 2 people over 3 years, you found out for fucking sure they didn't do it. Then you found out who paid the $300 to get that ad in there. And that fucking sucks. Because then you realize America's not what you thought it was. So let's reel it back.
So the person who paid for the ad is a member of an agency?
So I can't prove that.
Right, but that's your hunch?
I would say I know.
Oh, okay.
But I still can't prove that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so but yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Sure.
But here's the deal.
But that's pretty significant.
Yeah, it's very significant to me in my understanding of the world. But let's get back to the Chris Ramsey threat and my mom and my wife. So you're sitting there and the FBI is informing you, and you're informing them too, but then they sidebar your mom and they take that opportunity to tell her some truths, right? They don't want to say it necessarily right there with me, but they kind of tell my mom what's up, right? And the thing is that they really can't protect you, because if there is an agency who is covertly pushing a psychopath to hurt you, Chris, and you were told that by someone you trust, meaning an agency that's supposed to protect you, that's what we're talking about as far as like covert, using people. That is real. I know that is real because I have personally experienced it. But let's talk about the other witnesses and what's happened to them. I mean, I don't know where you want to go with this.
I mean,
am I making sense to you?
You're making sense, definitely. And, you know, I guess for me, it's, you know, I'm sure many people feel this way as well. You know, they want specifics,
right,
when it comes to this stuff. But I also understand that it gets sensitive around specifics because, you know, there are apparently lives at stake here, and more than, you know, more lives than are publicly even disclosed. And so that's
freedom of thought,
right,
is at stake. Freedom of speech is at stake. Sure, Matthew Brown, his physical life before he went public, oh, fuck yeah, was, I would say it was very clear that people didn't want him to come forward.
So when you say that,
yeah,
what do you mean by that? Because when I hear that a lot. It was very clear.
Mm-hmm.
And in the interview that you released with Matt, and both interviews with George as well, it seems to be agreed upon between the three of you, that yes, serious things have been implied, and there has been sort of activity surrounding a threatening nature. But we're always just told that. We're never told the specifics. Is it because it's dirt? Is it like, what is it that they have that?
No, there's no dirt on that.
No, but what I'm asking, because I can only assume, right? And it always seems like, oh, they're definitely threatening, but then we never get to hear, like, you know, you said they called you and said, we're going to kill you. That I understand.
Yeah, but that's overt.
That's as direct as it gets.
Yeah. But a kid could do that.
Yes, but what I'm asking is, at what point does it go from it's actually happening to, you know, from an outsider's perspective, perceived paranoia?
Oh, first of all, a perceived threat is as important as a real threat because it feels the same.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to the person, oh, absolutely, you need to be pronoid, or you're going to get paranoid. And you need to document everything fastidiously and check it with people who are not in your emotional state, like your federal lawyer. Like for me, it'd be a bunch of people, right? You also need to have evidence and proof. And so you have to live that way. And living that way means that every moment of your life, unless you choose it to be, is documented, recorded, audio, video, pushed up to the cloud, spread out on servers, encrypted, and then spread out so anybody could see it if you ever say so or want them to.
So you're saying that you have threats that are recorded?
Bro.
Or that people you know have threats recorded?
Well, first of all, both.
Okay.
Is the answer.
Okay.
I want to answer your question.
Yeah.
Okay. And then let's move to my movie. So the movie opens with, if I recall, with a CIA veteran.
Yes.
So let me show you the shape of the orange cup now, which I said was CIA. Okay.
Yeah. Told you were good at putting pins in things.
Well, I have tools. These are all tools for me to remember.
Yeah, you're good at that.
So my memory is this.
Yep.
Here's CIA. So CIA, if you meet with them, and first they try to enroll you as a patriotic American, okay? But you're already enrolled. You're already like, I'm never going to hurt our country, I'm going to do my best. And if I fuck up, that's on me, not on you.
Sure.
Okay. They don't like that so much. So then they're like, well, to enroll you, they want to give you incentive. Okay. So what does that look like? It's transactional, bro. It's simple. Maybe $10,000 a time. Now you have to understand too, I'm a journalist, so I have different rules that I have to play by, and they have different rules in order to contact me. So, some are like, there's a 6-month process for one agency. There's supposed to be rules, okay? Also, CIA ain't supposed to be operating on American soil.
No, that's true.
Right. it is not true, but it is true.
Yeah, but
They're
I
not
mean,
supposed to be.
that's supposed to be the NSA.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know more than I do. So here we go. I mean, I don't know. I just know that's a fact. So, the thing is, people will get paid just to go talk to somebody just by like memorizing the streets of a small town, right? Like, they'll tell you, look, for me, I don't give a shit because I get paid X amount of dollars just to memorize streets when I'm here, But when it comes down to money, so CIA is the most covert. They're the most, I respect their methodologies because they never fully say what they're saying until they do. So at first it's like, enroll you. If they can't enroll you because you're already enrolled. You want to protect America. You're a patriot. You live here. Then they'll be like, well, people get paid. It's a transactional thing. But you're like, oh, but I'm a journalist. And so.
Yeah, 100%.
100%. And then, like, you don't even let people buy you a beer.
No, yeah.
Okay. Then, when it gets heavier and they can't enroll you and they can't incentivize you, the next thing they can do is make you uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So an example of that would be, you buy a house on a blind LLC and then a magazine prints it. Okay. And there's only 2 people on planet Earth that know that you're associated with this property and you're moving because of a direct threat that has been proven to you and you were informed about that. Then, if that doesn't work, then the next thing is, hey man, we really want to look out for you. And we are worried that just the bad guys, like other foreign nations, intelligence people, they might try to honey trap you, man. They might try to do this to you, that to you, but we can like look out for you. So, let us know if something ever occurs like that. And then that shit, that does try to occur, people, but you're on guard, you got friends with you, you have to live that way. So you got, they all eyes open, you make a joke, you say it out loud, you fucking Mossad, the whole thing. You didn't read my profile. You have to talk to me about my dogs first. Making jokes. So then that's like, oh, fuck, you better report that to your lawyer. Like, just the fact that someone was this close to you, you got to report that to your lawyer. You'd give that to DOJ, FBI. You'd go like that because you want everybody to know that fucking happened. Now, the question is, and they affirm that fucking happened, meaning you have your friend taking a photo of the Instagram of the girl when she's talking to you. So you then look at the Instagram profile, have her assumed name, pass it on to DOJ. Okay. So all of a sudden you've got that kind of weird honey trap thing where it's just somebody's trying to get to you, real close to you. Right?
That seems exhausting.
For me, yeah.
Yeah, for you.
Dude, bro, I'm done living like that. So that's part of why I told you I'm going to be free, because I'll put my cards on the table, all 52, Chris. I might hold one, but that card ain't even supposed to be in the deck. That card's right here, Chris. Okay, that one's not supposed to be in the deck. So now, the next thing that occurs, because you ain't buying that shit, because here's why. Tell me if you already thought this. Because if I can't operate on American soil, but Mossad can and does, then I might ask my friend to send their girl. You tracking?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That happens every day, and I'll finish it with this.
Little honeypots?
Not just that. We're talking all types of actions. So let me put it to you like this. There is an upside down, and it is everywhere around you at all times. And the people that have trained officially and are part of it know that it exists. And it is the intelligence web that is constantly operating at high speed with time dilation. I mean, faster than you can think.
Like actually?
100%.
Like when you're saying this, you're not just speaking in hyperbole.
No, I'm speaking in hyperbole.
Oh, okay.
There's no internet under the ground.
No, but I mean time dilation.
No. I'm not going into weirdo land.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Whoa, I got to be careful. I forgot. We're talking UFO shit.
Oh, yeah. I'm
oh my
100% massively invested in Weirdo Land. So,
I
so
don't,
if you say they're using time dilation, I'm pretty convinced of that fact myself.
no, I have no idea.
All right, you're not just
literally-
entertaining my psychosis here.
No.
This is okay. Perfect.
I am outside of the scope of my knowledge base.
Okay.
If I said that,
Okay,
I have
good.
a theory base. Like we were talking theory right
No,
now.
I thought you were gassing up my my insane mind right now for a sec, because I'm like, this is what I want to talk about. Let's talk about some time dilation.
I hope you've got a fire burning in your brain, and I'm going to try to put it out with gasoline right now. But, so let's just finish this, because this is way heavier than I wanted to start with.
Yeah.
So I want to like reverse it,
Let's go.
moonwalk from Z to A.
Sure.
But I'll just finish this. This is what you said, the word hyperbole. Yeah, I'm just explaining that thank God there is an intelligence network that is operating at all times. It's the upside down. You don't see it, and it's fucking happening all the time around you. And the only time it percolates to the surface, or there's a puncture and you see behind that veil, is unfortunately when you have to go into SCIFs, when you've been involved, when you've had what I call badged contact, because it's literally badged contact, and they read your profile and they say, got to talk about my dogs. You have to show them a video. You can't just do that. It has to be a video. And then you could talk to him because he's a journalist, and he probably has a perfect audio memory that can be transmitted at any time verbatim. So just know that about him as well, because he always takes phone calls on speakerphone for the last more than 11 years now. And he's always talking on speakerphone. So just know that about him. So that's how you approach, right? So you have to understand, and now you do, is that there is an upside down, and thank God there is, and it's so important. But the only time that we as normies see a penetration or a poke, like the ancient Greeks used to say stars were hummingbirds that would poke holes in the firmament, and that's what stars were, right? The only time you get to see that, I get to see that, is when it's too late, when you've already crossed the Rubicon. Otherwise, you have disbelief, you have the word you said, which is a weapon, which is paranoia, which I have never been one day in my life. Like the word conspiracy theorist is a dagger, it's a weapon, it's used to discredit you. But we can use those funny terms, and we can make UFOs funny again, because they should be.
I agree.
Yeah. So that's just, now that we've done the heavy thing, and you understand, at least that I believe what I'm saying to be true. Now we can lighten up, talk about time dilation.
I mean, yeah, it's thank you for sharing all that. And I know it's, well, it doesn't seem easy to talk about, and especially, after watching the movie. First of all, congratulations is a weird thing to say.
Yeah. But I didn't make the movie.
No, I know, but
Michael Lazovsky made the movie.
Well, the movie is really good watch. The artistic choices that he made were really appreciated. I appreciated them.
Like what? You always want facts. You want specifics. Like what?
Sure. I feel like in this movie, the focus was more on the in-between moments. And the in-between moments were put forward as the main moments. And the main moments were kind of brushed aside. And I think that that's a director or filmmaker's approach to trying to find the authenticity. It is hard going in front of a camera and being authentic. To say to someone, hey, just be real. Be authentic. Be yourself.
It's never been hard for me.
No, but I mean,
why is it hard?
But in general, it is hard for people, because people now, you're conscious of the camera, and so you become self-conscious and all of this. So I get it. Yeah. So a great way to go beyond that is, this is something I had a TV show we did one season of, and I was the executive producer and the creator of the show. And I remember we were doing some sort of hidden camera stuff, because we wanted people to, not hidden camera, but we wanted people to act naturally with cameras around.
Act naturally.
Act naturally.
Hilarious.
Yeah. That exactly. It is. It is.
You can't be acting. You just have to be natural.
No, it is contradictory. But just sort of, that term, just act natural.
Yeah.
Which is hard for people to do if they're cognizant if a camera's around. So what we would do is the camera would be filming, And we noticed as soon as people yelled, cut, everyone would relax and then they'd be themselves. And so we had a code word for cut.
Instead of being someone else, you had a code word for cut.
So we had a code word for cut. Yeah. So when we said cut, it wasn't cut. Yeah. It was cameraman relax and look away while he's still filming. Yes. And then we get the real moments. Because a lot of the moments we were like, can you describe what happened in that magic trick? And if the camera's there, they go, it was great. So wow, it was amazing, and then we're like, we can't use that. We need authenticity. And so we go, all right, we got it, cut. And then we go, like, wasn't that crazy? They go, oh my God, that was so insane. And they'd open up while we're filming sort of slouched. And so what I'm trying to say with this is during this, there were a lot of moments where, there's a moment where you got very emotional. Where you're like,
you said that's okay years ago to me.
I did, and you were like, "Cut this out, motherfucker!" And you left the room.
To you?
No, to me and in this movie.
Oh, and he left that in the movie. Of course, he fucking did.
And
happened to me with TMZ too, fuckers. Man.
But I also think that aside from that, there was also those in between moments with John Lear.
Hold on, I said fuckers in a good way. Like I love you, Ryan, at TMZ. You left it in, even though I was like, "Are you sure you want?" So what happened with John Lear?
Yeah, with John Lear, it was much of the same. First of all, I didn't realize how much John Lear enjoys eating until
we cut out 90% of that.
Every scene he was stuffing his face with something. It was unbelievable. He was either smoking a cigar or eating, and he was always. When he's eating, he's so consumed by what he's eating. He's just like, and he's listening, half listening. He's like, yeah, and just back to food.
Did it capture the movie? Did you see a glimpse of his laughter?
Yeah.
You did. Okay.
Yeah. It's especially when he was asked,
do you think you're nuts?
Do you think you're crazy? Do you think you're nuts?
Warm nuts.
Yeah, exactly. And he kind of brushed it off, and he's like, no. He's like, I know these things to be real. He's like, other people might think I'm nuts.
He didn't brush it off. He said with absolute pity on me.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, to him, it was all real.
There's another laugh. There's another laugh that he gets, and I don't know if Michael put it in his movie, but let's myopic this for a second. Let's split a hair. Let's talk about Michael for one second, because I've never been able to talk about this movie because it hasn't come out yet.
Sure.
And this is the first time that I'm talking about this movie, and I don't know if I'm ever going to talk about this movie again. So I want to talk about this movie and about Michael. Okay. Yep. One other thing you said that I put a mental pin in, I want to come back to. But so Michael Lazovsky, about being natural. So I wanted to ask you a question about being natural. I learned something about a camera, and I think that's what allowed me to never fear them or never just decline to admit their existence. Because I do, and you know me, and I have a purpose, and I use the camera like a weapon. So if I go on a news show, I use that time like a weapon, and then I know the camera's going or whatever, but it's never about the camera, and there's a reason why. There's a reason how I got there. And I want to tell you that. But first, quick question. Why do you think that a camera inhibits acting normally, or whatever the word you said was after acting?
Yeah. Why do
authentically, rather than just being authentic? Why does that lens do that to people?
Because you become self-aware.
Why is that a problem?
Well, it's only a problem for people who are afraid of how they're being perceived.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
why do we have fear about the way we're perceived?
It's fear of not being loved.
Okay, hold on. Give me my brain a second. Fear of not being loved. Okay. Is it also fear? So yes, and is it also fear of being hated and ridiculed?
Same, one and the same.
Same
I consider the same thing, yeah.
Okay, so we're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, so agreed. Now we can move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, that was a really nice thing to watch unfold, is these in-between moments. There's a moment where John Lear's stuck in the kitchen with his wheelchair.
I gotta get this out of my head, and then you go on with the wheelchair. So the reason why I don't fear the camera is because I learned from the first time I pointed it at somebody that in fact the opposite is true. That sometimes when you put a camera on someone, if it's that kind of person, it's like a pressure valve. The first time I opened a camera on someone, they told me shit that they had never even told their wife or their family. So my experience with a camera started for me on this end of it. And I realized that that's the kind of person that I want to interview, because I'm learning the stuff that is not supposed to be said, or they felt it wasn't, and it was like healing.
It's cathartic.
And I put that in a little box and I bury it under the ground. And that person knows, because I'm
Hyperbole.
No.
Really? You really buried it.
I buried shit my whole life.
Okay.
So
I'm just making sure.
It's in the fucking movie.
I know.
Did you finish the movie?
Yes, but that's what I'm wondering. Are you referring to that as like a hyperbolic sort of anecdote, or are you actually saying this is another thing I buried?
You're in Alice in Wonderland now, and there's no hope.
Okay.
Remember Lear said that? So here's the deal with that is that healing thing, and my being on this side, I realized this camera is a passport. But I also realized that you have to the trick to being trusted is to actually be trustworthy. The only problem with trust is it doesn't end once somebody trusts you. You have to continuously reinforce, prove it, show the receipts, and maintain it if you want a high level of trust. That's why I always tell people, if something I say sounds too fantastical, ask me right now, no preparation, and I'll show you the receipt. But I brought a different phone, so I can't. But anyway, that is, with me and my friends, we have this joke, we're all, receipt. And it's not because we don't believe each other. It's because we need to know it's true. It needs to be reinforced. Like if miracles happen, Chris, and there was over 200 miracles, and you know, because you've had your own miracle in magic, but you know that there's impact in the receipts, you would collect those and you would create a book and you would tell the world. So what I'm trying to say is that relationship that I had to a camera, and then where I said, and I showed trust over and over, and I buried it, and I buried it, and I buried it, both hyperbole and not hyperbole at that time. What happens is that gets around. So when I kept Commander Fravor's secret, when I could have been the person to break that story in the big scale, and everybody, including Fravor, started telling everybody, that kid kept my fucking secret. That spreads like a virus, where all of a sudden everybody's got a contagion, and that spreads, and it's that this guy can keep his mouth shut, because the biggest part of telling secrets is knowing how, functionally, and when to keep them. So now with the camera situation sorted, that we've just sorted here on Area 52, I think that you should feel authentic in front of a camera, and if you don't get in front of one, because you can never take that back.
Sure.
That is something you can never take back. So anyway, with that said, now I'll go back to your saying a funny moment. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you provide an interesting perspective, I think, into your personality as well, because you're clearly someone who has an ability you have the gift of gab, whether you think so or not. You have the ability to tell a story in a very entertaining manner, in a cadence that demands people's attention. It's when you speak, you have this rare ability where people lean in. They do.
Okay.
And some people, and this is for the people out there listening, some people might think that's only for the camera, because it's the only time you get to see Jeremy Corbell.
Gotcha.
But I've seen Jeremy Corbell without the camera, and I think everybody who has met Jeremy outside of Cameraland understands that you're the exact same person.
Yeah.
This is you off camera too. But it might be mistaken for a lot of people to think, oh, this guy's being insincere, he's playing a part. No, that's Jeremy. Jeremy's being who he is on and off camera.
I have not been able to be someone other than myself.
Yeah, and I can confirm that since I've known you. Like that's been who you are, and it's a quirk that I've come to appreciate.
It's a quirk?
It is a quirk.
Oh my Lord.
This
is too much self-reflection.
No, you're definitely.
I have to watch your podcast.
You definitely
to understand what you just
you
said.
definitely have quirks.
Okay.
But it's an endearing quality, I think, in my eyes. But regardless, there is enough of me glazing you here. There is a very endearing quality to this documentary, regardless of we spoke about this before I watched it, and you're like, you said something to the effect of the first hour is just so you know who I am kind of deal. And then the last half hour is like, that's the stuff.
That's what I think. I didn't make the movie, but
Sure.
when I had to watch it and endure it,
Yeah.
I felt like, and you should ask Michael, fucking Michael is the one that made it, but it felt to me like he was just trying to make sure people understood that I mean what I say and I say what I mean, and that I'm worthy of your trust, so I'm trustworthy. And then I realized that towards the end, he shows you some shit, and I think it's important. And I think that's why he set up the movie like that. But you're gonna have to ask him.
Sure.
Because for me, I don't have the same experience.
Yeah, there's a few like
you.
really interesting artistic choices as well. The lighting, the music. Like,
okay, so let's pick one. So like I noticed the hands, right? So at one point, I throw my hands up as a young kid, and he cuts immediately to the
your
same
hands.
position.
Yeah.
And I was like, what did I just see? And I'm like, shit, that kid's like putting some stuff in there.
Yeah, there's
It's
a lot
deeper
of footage to sift through to find that too.
He is a master filmmaker. And that's what I realized. I've been through a process with him. I said, Michael, there's no way. He's like, can I just have the drives? I'm like, I ain't gonna fucking trust you.
Mhm.
You come into my life, Mossad. I'm not gonna trust you. My wife's all, you gotta trust somebody. And she was right. Trust is a choice the first time. After that, it's repeated. So I gave him 20 years of footage. 99.9% I never put out. That kid has seen it all. Except for what I didn't give him.
Sure. What was buried?
Well, I didn't give him stuff, but I gave him 99% of it. So he watched it all. So when I told him a story and he's like, no way, he'd come back to me and he goes, dude, it was cooler than you remembered. Check this out. And I was like, what the fuck? So I gave him 20 years of my footage. Then stuff started happening. And then he's like, dude, we got to turn on the camera fresh. I said, we're not doing that. And then he's like, we got to turn on the camera fresh. I'm like, I got to trust you. It was a trust exercise. So that kid, I just want to not get off him yet. Michael Lazovsky, right out of AFI, I think is the term, like, probably top of his class because he's an overachiever. Sincere, sweetheart, but a very powerful man. Family, good human, worthy of your trust. I only put one, and I'll let him say it, I put one restriction on him for the movie. And I like leaving things undone so you stay curious. And you should ask him what the one condition I had was for him to make and use my 20 years of footage when you talk to him.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a few choices there as well that, I found really interesting as someone who knows you. One was, he didn't cut around the fact you're cracking beers during this movie.
Oh.
And, someone in your position might be like, hey man, can you cut a few of those out? I feel like I'm drinking a lot of beers on camera.
Really?
Yeah, maybe.
Why?
But I think it shows, once again, just who you're building. You're taking care of houses. You're cracking a beer.
Fact.
You're fixing stuff.
Fact.
You're walking your dog.
Fact.
It shows your mom.
Fact.
Your relationship with your mom.
Fact.
How close you guys are. Clearly that comes across as well. And how much she cares about you, how much you care about her. That's very, very apparent.
I love her. I love my whole family.
Yeah. And it's very, very apparent. And so it was these small glimpses and they weren't, I think what a relief to me watching it was they weren't all flattering.
Okay.
I think that that's good.
Okay.
No, I know that to be good because the last thing you want is a puff piece.
Right.
If you like,
that's not real.
No, that's not real.
Yeah.
Correct. Exactly. And this really showed all the parts. So I was kind of really appreciative watching it from that lens of being like, oh yeah, that's Jeremy.
Now I got to kill the guy or what? What do you show? Okay.
No, you got to thank him.
No, I'm going to thank him with action.
Okay. Let's get into, first of all, I do want to sidebar, go back to that pin that I put. John Lear.
We got a whole map. Which pin?
John Lear playing bumper cars in the kitchen was one of the highlights for me. When it is sad because you see his decline. You were there with John Lear through his unfortunate decline.
Well, we all decline.
Yeah, we do, but it takes.
If we're lucky, we do.
It takes strength to be there, and you see. You're fluffing up the pillows for him when he's shirtless on the couch and, all these type of moments.
Yeah.
That must have been kind of difficult to witness and sit through.
Well, I loved John Lear. I love John Lear. He was a true friend to me in the capacity that he could be. He was limited in some ways. What really hurt was, but what really hurt was that I was his least favorite human on planet Earth, or at least he tried to pretend I was. I probably was, but I might be a little delusional about that. towards the end. And it made me really sad because even when we were friends, he'd get really mad at me and like yell shit, you know? And I couldn't find the voice messages for Michael's. And one thing I couldn't find, but he would, because, you know, everything in the movie you see is actual. That was the first time I drove to his fucking house. Was we put the first time in because we said we're showing the first time. So that was kind of, I'm going to give you a hint, that was kind of the only condition is that, I guess I'm just going to say it and see if Michael agrees, but I'm going to tell you, you may not do any movie magic. You may not put anything in there that isn't 100% accurate and true. That is down to the voice message of him telling me to get Philly Titans, because now you're starting to understand me for a second here. Before I started filming with John, for some reason, I was recording almost every word that came to me at all times. Not a good way to live, bro. But that's how I have that message from John. So now you're getting a little insight into what I had said earlier back here in time. Today, is that everything in that movie is exactly as I say it and as you see it. And that was the only thing about Michael. Because the thing about me with movies, I've always wanted to make one that fucks with people. I want to make one that seems real and is real, but has a weird undertone of the perforation and the fucking hummingbirds touching the fucking firmament to look like stars. But I've never done that because I started with a movie called Patient 17 and I was shocked, very shocked. And then I went in on the, you know, Skinwalker movie, which is perplexing. And then Lazar. So I've never been able to make that movie I want. And I think I'm done making movies, right? But Michael's movie, because it was partially my movie, because it was my footage, it has to be fucking honest. Brutally, everything. Accurate, authentic, and honest. Did he achieve his goal? Did he get it? Did Michael get it? Was he honest?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Well, I don't know.
Right.
That's for you to know.
Well, I know.
It seemed honest.
But maybe you'll find out.
Yeah. No, absolutely. There is a, I remember one part that I really liked too, was this character that John Lear had been chatting with, the guy who told him about the afterlife. I forget, the Mr. Sleeper. That's right. Yeah. Was it Mr. Sleeper or just
that's a
Sleeper
cooler name,
or whatever it was?
I like that. You
yeah, I don't know.
He's a sweetheart, by the way. He is an absolute sweetheart.
Sure.
I feel kind of bad. That's the one part of the movie I feel kind of bad about, because what Michael didn't say in the movie, he told what I felt.
Right.
He told that I thought that it was a lie.
It was a lie.
A knowing lie.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like husbands and wives, they say these little pretty lies to make the other, and the other one knows that they're lying. So Lear is dying.
Yeah.
And Lear knows he's going to die.
And he's telling him you're going to go to heaven.
Sleeper gave him a ticket, bro.
Sure.
He gave him a ticket. So I felt like that was a knowing lie. I hope that's how the movie portrays it, because what happens is, in reality too, Sleeper is the limited exposure I have to him, very amazing, authentic, sweet human, and he's not a liar. He's not a liar. So when that thing came up in that movie, it made me kind of squirm, but I'm kind of going like, well, that's true too. So I just wanted to caveat that before your audience is going to see it. So I got to caveat that, which is that that really ungrounded me, and in comes the anchor. Like the news anchor who's an anchor and a totem pole. Yeah. George motherfucking Knapp.
Yeah,
that's
right
his
after
middle
that.
Name.
I was just going to say there's a moment where that guy, where you set up the camera and you have him walk into the hotel and sit down, and then he goes, how was that? Was that good? You're like, yeah, that was great. It seemed really natural. And that stayed in. And it's those moments that I really liked about this documentary.
But I do that too, is like, I make sure like I give somebody what they're looking for. So I don't think that says a lot about him being uncomfortable. I think that says more that he wanted to make sure I got
of course,
what I was looking for.
I just like that the artistic choice of leaving that in versus starting on the talking head.
Understood. Sorry.
Because you start on the talking head, that's what everybody does. And he had him walk in, sit down, and be like, did you get it? Yeah, we got it. And then nothing.
That's what we're talking about.
And then we cut out his entire interview. All we took was the authentic walk in, the sit down, the trying to act normal, and that's it. And I thought that was really endearing. And so it was those little moments that I really enjoyed.
Michael.
Yeah,
he's great.
Yeah, it's a great choice. It was a refreshing take on you watch UFO documentaries, you think you know what you're going to get, and it's not at all what I thought. And I liked the surprise. There's all this going on. There's the Edgar Mitchell stuff, which I thought was really interesting. You kind of see that back and forth banter slightly between Edgar Mitchell and John Lear, and the mutual respect which he talks about, but also this sort of like disagreement on the moon landing for obvious reasons. Which is interesting. You have what's his face, Colonel John Alexander.
And with Lear eating, and Lear's eating, wearing a tinfoil hat at the Atomic Testing Museum, and in the back.
Oh yes, it's Lear and Alexander, not Lear and Mitchell. That's right. Yes.
And we get it's Lear and Colonel John B. Alexander.
Yeah.
And Lear's there as an agent provocateur with a top hat that's
like a fedora.
It's a top hat that is a tinfoil hat at the Atomic Test Museum, and somebody says something like, "Is there food here?" So he's eating, because that's the truth. That's what was going on. And then if you look really closely, tell me if I'm wrong, world, but I believe there's just one glimpse, and also because I just haven't watched the movie much, but I believe Nick Pope is sitting far away at a table, sitting there, and I believe that maybe his first, or one of his first, that was my first encounter of ever seeing or meeting him, if it was that time. And man, he was in this bathroom before, and he was so nervous. And I had never met him. So I'd seen him before, obviously. So he must have been out there, but he was so nervous. And I look at him and I go, "Bro, are you nervous?" Words just come out my mouth. What a cool moment. And you said, Edgar Mitchell, time dilation. I don't know what you saw in that movie, but what you didn't see was, the hour and a half phone call where he made me sit in a room with his psychic on the telephone.
Edgar Mitchell's psychic.
Yeah. Edgar Mitchell had a psychic. And he talked to her weekly. And there's an hour and a half, but he knew was being recorded. As an hour and a half of me sitting there, and the psychic, who felt like a charlatan to me, was trying to convince him I was the reincarnation of his son who had passed away.
Oh my God.
Bro, it's on tape. Play the tape back. Moonwalk, Z to A. I'm just saying there's a compression. I'm sorry I keep cutting you off. I'm just really pumped up on this coffee you gave me. Is this Atomic?
Yeah. It's what's the old paint they used to use?
Iridium.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, there's a lot of those little moments that are kind of cool because you see glimpses. People don't really realize how involved you were with documenting UFO personalities. You get to see a lot of colorful personalities come in and out of John Lear's home, which is really, kind of sheds some light on, the figures in this community. But also you see a small glimpse of your interview with Oscar Wolf.
Oh yeah, you see a little handshake.
A little handshake. And most people don't know that you filmed that.
Right.
Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was Richard Dolan's. Richard Dolan was on camera with Oscar Wolf.
Richard to do
That's
it
right.
Because he was and is a thoughtful authority figure.
Absolutely.
And nobody knew my face.
Yeah.
And so we were like, damn, what do we do? We need somebody who knows shit, who can ask smart questions, because I didn't know what to ask the guy. What a great opportunity.
Yeah.
And it was Ruben Langdon who set that all up, and Ruben Langdon did the citizen hearing on disclosure in 2013. He is the force behind it. He is the producer. The citizen hearing, a lot of people, point credit to a bunch of people for it. No. It was Ruben fucking Langdon. Ruben Langdon literally went bankrupt because of misappropriation of funds and everything that was going on, came to me like a life raft, said, dude, I need help. I need a brother. Like, we are in a bad situation. I am losing everything. And I said, as long as your past interactions don't harm me in any way, I will I got you, bro. But we need to literally sign a document that says none of this fuckery will spill over to me. And, I have my businesses, my life, my livelihoods, all this stuff. UFO land can wait. Ruben Langdon is the unsung hero of the citizen hearing, and Oscar Wolf. So he is a guy with a story, and people will see that interview online, right? And it is Richard Dolan, because he's a badass gangster, knows what he's talking about. and is also heartfelt that does the interview.
Yeah. And for those who don't know about this interview, you should definitely go check it out. But this is the one that Danny Sheehan refers to as well, about this gentleman being on his deathbed.
Oh, yeah.
And, saying that he was at S4. He saw an alien. He saw what he perceived to be some type of extraterrestrial on the other side of a glass.
Yeah.
And had cue cards with questions on him and whatnot. Like he went underground at S4. There was floating UFOs.
Not at S4, or I don't recall my memory. Okay, I don't recall. But let me tell you something people don't know. It's a more important part. This has never been said that I know of. Maybe I've said it before, but what people don't know, if they don't know, I filmed that. What they also don't know is that he was like on dialysis or something like that for his kidneys. That's what was killing him, that he didn't have very long to live. We're talking weeks or something. It was told to us like, this is the last chance. And it was like a family member of his who kind of made it work. His wife violently did not want him to do this interview because of her religion. And what happened was, this guy gets up out of his dialysis, I think it was dialysis, out of this thing where he needs a machine. We get him in the room. He does this interview and goes right back to the hospital type situation he was in. So think about this. This guy is going to gain nothing. Unless he's a plant trying to confuse it and they're like, we're going to hurt your family after you die if you don't do it. That's always an option, okay? But I believe, from knowing the guy for this much time and being in that room, that he told it like he experienced it and knew it, and that even being an older guy with health problems, he was sharp as a dagger, and I can attest to that. I tested him. He's sharp as a dagger, and he went against the wishes of his most beloved for the fundamental reason of religion. She was against it, her religious views, and he is there, and he does the interview. That's his mic drop. Then he dies. That is one deathbed confession that saw the light of day. Now, I've been in many of those exact experiences, and some people are not dead, and other people are dead, and yet it is not appropriate. Nor did they ask me to put stuff out. That shit's buried. And here's why. Let me just defend myself, because people are going to be mad right now. If what I'm saying is true, which it is, people would be mad. What people might not yet understand until the words are spoken, and hopefully they do, is that when somebody tells you a secret and tells you to keep it secret unless you can't anymore, then you do just that. You keep it secret till you can't, okay? Because it's not just the person talking. And I'm going to bring it out of Dr. Seuss world right now and be very direct with you. If people have access to the closest guarded secret in human history that has been held back from the American and global public since they could hold it back, UFOs, what they represent, what they're a part of. If somebody has close proximity to that, A, you'll never know their name publicly. Good try. Never. B, they will be quiet. They will not be the ones you expect. And there's a reason they're put in that position, because they are worthy of your trust. They are trustworthy. And usually if it's military, they were born into that position because their fathers were trusted with this secret, and sometimes their fathers' fathers were trusted with this secret. Now here's the rub. That person dies. You know they procreate, and you know that their kin are also in a position of trust. So you release this, and I get chills.
Right.
Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Does your audience understand?
I'm sure they do. So
sometimes to tell secrets, you need to keep certain ones.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. The the Nepo situation in the legacy program.
What does that word mean, nepo?
Nepotism.
What does nepotism mean?
Nepotism is getting something basically based on a relationship. So you're getting ahead in life.
Yeah, but sometimes people are highly qualified to receive that.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. But for the most part, you
Maybe
know.
sometimes better than their dads at acting.
Yeah, sometimes. But sometimes, you know, it's
It doesn't hurt.
It's a bit of a derogatory term that people use.
That's what I feel in that. I don't think that's fair.
Not always.
But sometimes it is.
I think so.
Okay. Well, you have to live in someone's shadow is what we say terrestrially.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are big shoes to fill. We say terrestrially, right?
Yeah, sure.
But sometimes people that are doing that, they're just, all they're seeing is their own big ass shadow thinking it was their daddy's. And that's the thing I've noticed. I got a musician friend and his dad's got a gigantic fucking shadow, bro. And so this musician guy, you know, was kind of thought he was living in his father's shadow, but indeed he's now realized, thank God, that it was his own big ass shadow. And so now you're going to hear his voice again.
Yeah, nice. Okay.
You're like, let's go back to UFOs. Sorry.
Well, I want to go back to UFOs. Certainly want to go back to UFOs.
Am I derailing you?
No.
Okay.
No, I like this.
I like the train.
Yeah, I like dynamic conversations, and some people.
But we're not being sporadic, right?
I don't know. Who cares?
Right. Okay, but I hope that, you know, we can have a logical, straightforward conversation.
We can have any type of conversation we want. Don't worry about it.
All right.
Whatever conversation.
Your audience.
To be quite frank, in the words of Rick Rubin, the audience comes last. Right.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
What a genius.
Because, you know, you got to think about the task at hand. You got to think about what you're doing, what you're passionate about, all that stuff.
Wow.
After you do that,
right?
If you do that, the audience will love it, hopefully.
Right.
But even if they don't, it has to mean something to you for you to do
Rick
it. So
Rubin's Rubik's Cube, bro.
Yeah, he's got some good thoughts. So okay. And love the audience, by the way.
Don't be a dick.
I'm not trying to be a dick to the audience.
Dude, I think they paid for this set, bro. Unless it was some billionaire you're not telling us, Ramsey.
Definitely not.
Yeah, I know. You mean you self-made?
You mean Daddy Teal? No,
Daddy Teal. No, hold on. Let me ask you something. So your brain that I'm seeing outside of the closed skiff here, your brain that I have been beholding for more than 20 or almost 24 hours.
Sure.
Now. Okay. Like you created this. You weren't like through neo, but you're not a neo baby.
A nepo baby?
You're not a nepo baby.
No.
You might be a neo baby, but not a nepo baby.
No,
so all of this is your brain, and you're gonna say, and the team of people I work with, and
mostly mine. I'll say mostly mine.
It's impressive to see what you've created. Don't fucking stop.
Thank you, and I won't. As long as my creative passion keeps getting fulfilled, and my love for being creative is renewed, then I will continue being creative and passionate. But as soon as that ends, you gotta change gears.
Change gears.
Yeah, like I did, going from magic to puzzles to this.
But you never left that gear behind. So I've left some gears behind.
It might seem that way.
For you?
To people.
No, I know. Yeah. I know you've never.
No, to me, it's the same trajectory.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So these are all manifestations of a singular thing that all those things were born from. But here you are in this skiff now. Yeah. I love it, dude.
But enough about me. This is the pro interviewer who turning it on me here.
I thought you said we're just talking.
We are just talking. But I do have a lot of questions about this movie.
Okay. I'll let you get to them.
One point, which... there's a lot of footage of Bob Lazar in this movie as well that I've never seen, which was really interesting. And, there's that moment where you're in the woods with Bob and Bob and you ask him flat out, did you have a piece of 115?
Yeah.
And Bob says, I did. Mm-hmm. Tell me about that day.
Oh, shit. Okay. Well, first of all, Bob said that a bunch already. That's nothing new, and I think that's funny if people think so. Bob's told you it's all over everywhere. At one point, if you believe Bob Lazar, he had a piece, and how we know that is George Knapp is a witness to that. In that the container that the 115 was held in was on the mantle of one of the interviews that George Knapp did as like an Easter egg. It was next to some aerogel. And there's no secret that Bob had a piece of 115 at one point, right? He even at one point, I I think George has told this story, but at one point they did analysis, a cloud chamber test, just to see if Bob was curious. He's like, can I get a reaction in a cloud chamber test to see if it actually does bend a laser? It does bend light. I mean, this is straight out of that movie with like Val Kilmer, Genius, Real Genius. Do you remember that 80s movie?
No, I don't.
You're welcome. So you're welcome. Real Genius, the movie. So this is straight out of that. So Lazar does a test, right? It is no secret that at one time, Bob Lazar had obtained a piece of 115. So yeah, in the movie where I fast forwarded, there's a lot that the world will never hear, I don't think, unless Bob says it. But like, there's no secret in that. So you asked me about that day though, and that's a can. So let's just open it, okay? So I'd been filming with Bob a bunch, but that wasn't easy. We're not going to get into that. One day he says, "Are you coming out or not?" Essentially. And I was like, yeah, I'll come out to Michigan. Let's do that. But I didn't want to ask and then get denied. So I really carefully just took my one camera and I put it underneath all of my clothes and I fucking went out there. And it's like this really awkward thing. And I'm there, it's late at night and there's Joy and the pups and we're there and I'm in the living room. I remember this. And then finally I just said, "Bob, like, why am I here?" And he goes, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "Are you going to let me now turn on the camera so that the world can hear from you and not the bullshit about you from other people?" And he goes, "Of course, that's why we're here." And it was this weird thing where I had become friends with him, but I didn't want to disrespect that moment. I wasn't sure why. It's obvious, I guess, now. So I had my camera, my one or two cameras, and we filmed on that particular trip you're asking about was like a breakthrough. It was like he was ready to throw down for himself. And you have to rewind the tape, bro. I mean, he had never talked like he did in that room with me and John Lear. He had never asserted himself in that way on camera. I know there are vehicles not made on Earth. I know they're made from a material we cannot duplicate, we cannot replicate, and we never have been able to. Now he goes, "I was inside one. Now I was inside one, blah, 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 blah." That had never existed on camera. I'm not sure it existed in him yet.
Mm-hmm.
That assertiveness, that fucking pissed offness. Anybody that knows Bob knows that he is a fucking fighter. He is a really strong human, stronger than people know. But because he's Bob, which only means someone to someone that knows him, because he's Bob, he doesn't feel the need. He doesn't feel the need to prove shit to you. So,
no, he really doesn't care.
No, he doesn't care. But you only know that because you know him. So now there I am, and we're fucking doing it. Which means like 4th of July, we take my fucking cool ass drone that I brought and we try to explode it, with like fucking fireworks. But then we walk into the woods, and woods meaning like on his property there. And this was the day before I left, which is important. We'll get back to that. First whole day I filmed with him, by the way. My car just took a shit that night, and it's never to be retrieved again. I tried for 6 months. So, that's kind of funny, right? First entire day
of course,
at his labs.
Yeah.
Took a shit, never get it back. And when I say took a shit, I'll tell the truth. I think I fucking hit delete. I was so nervous that night.
Oh, no.
And just, I deleted it. So there you go. Truth's out. Nobody asked, so I never had to
Was
say.
that really you? Or was that something acting through you?
Bro, it worked out perfect.
It did work out.
Yeah.
All right.
So we're in the woods. And just real talk, got a camera, put the phones way, 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 way far away. We talked about a lot of stuff. And that's for Bob to talk about, not for me to talk about. But it was like an insurance policy. I believe. You have to ask him if he wants to even talk about it. So there's nothing that you see in my movie, Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers. You see this sped up, if I recall, like I don't think I've watched the movie since I put it out. But that clip and others I've put out that were kind of hit the cutting room floor, as they used to say, right? But Bob acknowledging he had 115, he's done acknowledge that 1,000 fucking times. Other people have been on. Other people were there. They've all talked about it. That's not news, bro. But what people should understand is what happened next, because it's real and it happened. And if you don't understand that, you're not seeing reality. What happened next is I filmed for another day, and we're at his store, it is a laboratory and a store. It was in Michigan. And I pack up the camera, say goodbye, get on the plane, get home. I arrive at Burbank Airport. It's late, really late. So I go stay at my mom's place in Encino. And all of a sudden, my phone starts going bang, 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 like that, just like crazy text. I fucking told you, Jeremy. It was Gene Huff. I told you this would happen. I told you this would happen. And like George Knapp being like, motherfucker, I told you this would happen, motherfucker, because they're protective of Bob. And then there's this guy saying like, talk loudly. Talk loudly.
Mm-hmm.
Bam, 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 bam. Get some photos. Photos are of an FBI raid. I'm in the bathroom, like all that stuff. That's real. I didn't make that up for my movie. And everybody said that. Everybody said I staged an FBI raid for my movie. Then they found out it was a real FBI raid. It was a multi-agency raid. Then they said, well, they weren't looking for 115. Totally unrelated, nothing to see here, move on. Okay. Except I know that factually to be true, that was what they were looking for.
How?
You're going to have to ask Bob. And then if he wants to tell you, he'll tell you.
Okay.
But essentially, Covert.
Because that was the second time they raided Bob's house.
At least.
At least,
yeah,
right.
Because in New Mexico, they raided him, and the reason that they gave was like shipping of hazardous materials.
Mm-hmm.
However, has Bob ever told you, or Joy ever told you, that the reason they were able to do that was because they were being do-gooders and said, well, we got this company and we're shipping all of these things and we might as well file the paperwork because I think there's a new law coming. They were ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
And that exposed them to the opportunity to raid them under that, you say, auspice?
Loophole, yeah,
is
sure.
that the word? Okay. So then now, so I'll put it this, I am convinced that it was for element 115. It's not a retraction, it's a refinement. I am convinced, and there's reason for me to be convinced. Now, just talk to Bob about it, see what he wants to say. But I'll tell you this. They gridded off every 3 feet of his space. They were really going through stuff, put it that way. They even mirrored his computer, which was very interesting to me and Bob. I'll leave it there. So now, they mirror his computer. Still, people are saying, I don't want to believe. I don't want to believe, is what they're really saying. They're saying he got raided because some chick died because of some material and this guy was a client. He might have the client list. If you talk to anybody in the FBI, which I called a bunch of friends in the FBI, and I asked them, is this usual? Nope. Is this normal? Nope. Is this protocol? Nope. What you do is you walk in and you say, hey, Mr. Lazar, there was somebody that died from a super heavy element died from a rare element that is toxic. And we see that, you on your site, you sell this, but by the way, it's this tiny little sliver that couldn't hurt a fly, like in these little collector's packs, right? That you can buy anywhere. So you call them and you say, can I have the list of your clients and exactly what they ordered that are associated with this federal case? And then Lazar goes, of course you can, right? That's not what happened. They fucking locked his shit down in a tiny ass town, way smaller than your snow globe, way smaller. And they locked that shit down and they fucking tore it apart. They went through everything, mirrored his computer. It's like beyond overreaction. It was a message.
Mm-hmm.
It was a message to him because they knew for fuck sure that like if he ever did have possession, he would never have it in Michigan. And
right.
You know what I mean? So there you are. Now people still didn't believe. But there was what they call an assisting report of local where they're assisting federal. And if you look at that report, what you're going to find out was the day before and the day of, both his home and his business had the opportunity to be surveilled. Something happened that day in those woods. that didn't make sense until you play the tape back, like in your mind. So my point is, that day you asked, I just described to you that day. That's what it was. It was a realization moment for all of us, for me, for George Knapp, for Bob, because the hilarious thing that you don't see is later in the woods, in that footage, I don't think you ever see this. I go, Bob, are you like worried at all for your like personal safety? And maybe I'll find this clip now and I could put this out if Bob says okay. But basically, he says, no, my life has been great. It's been smooth sailing. I love my life. I don't want any disruption. I just want peace. I think they've forgotten about me, which is good because I'm not doing shit. I don't want to be involved. That was like, that sentiment was recorded at the very end of that in the forest. I've never put that out. Holy fuck, was he wrong? Was he fucking wrong? And we all, when we love somebody, we care about them as a friend, we all want them to have what they want if it's good for them. And for Lazar, it's peace, right? So the worst thing he could do is let somebody make another movie about him. It's the worst thing he could do. Or is it the best thing that he could do? And I'm going with that.
Yeah, I think, this is his final attempt to just be like, here's everything that I'll ever give you at all. Like, let's get it all out of the way. Let's go into the base. I'll reconstruct the base for you, the ship, everything. Well, I'll tell you what these people look like. I'll do this. I'll do that. I'll just give you everything. That way you can just leave me alone.
And that he's fucking wrong.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to make people more hungry.
Oh,
come on, bro. That's true.
Well,
or not?
So I see it both ways. I do see how,
of course you do.
He would, once you give it all up, you think to yourself, well, I can't give you anymore. Of course, that's going to make people hungry. Of course, that's going to stoke the flame of people's curiosity. But I also think it's a valiant effort on his behalf and a very brave step to take to A, relive everything, B, dig it up and let people go through it again, and C, try to go on with his merry existence, post releasing a massive, sort of project about his life.
Will this be good for him?
I wish nothing but that for Bob.
Will it be good for him?
I think Bob knows that, and this is before the movie comes out.
Yeah, we're going to know by the time this airs if it was good for him as a human.
Bob's a smart guy. I think he knows there's a storm coming.
There is a storm coming.
And, I think he knows that. And I think he's, we'll definitely see what happens. But, there is no better antiseptic than daylight in a lot of these cases. And that's Bob's number one reason for coming out in the first place in 1989 was
with George motherfucking Knapp.
Exactly. Just put it out there. And I think that's his way of doing that again in a way that like also appeases people who just nag him for more information, perhaps appeases a lot of the skeptics out there who had questions about certain aspects of the story.
He doesn't care about that.
No, but also, good riddance if that's the case, and if they'll never be satisfied. But if some of them, end up, if I could say this, and the movie's been out, so people have seen it, but anyone on the fence at this point watches that movie and goes, oh no,
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, and
I don't know,
and you will see it.
I know,
but anyone on the fence is now, you've no reason to be on the fence anymore.
Okay, that's cool if the movie does that.
Yeah,
but that's my greatest fear for Bob.
Yeah,
my fear is that more people will believe him.
Yeah,
because it's true. And my joke is, oh, Bob, look, what if everybody did believe you? How horrible, that would be horrible for you, because the questions will never end. I do hope that he maintains a sense of Bobness, in the sense of like he has what he needs, which is peace. Like, I don't think he gives a flying fuck what you believe. I know that to be true. And so look,
but all this is in the past because the movie's already out.
Time dilation.
And it's already out there, and Bob's doing well.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
we can say that because we're in the future now and Bob's doing well. All right.
I can relate to it in the sense that the only reason I'm letting this movie come out
Mm-hmm.
is because I believe.
In this movie, you're talking about your movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I'm talking about the movie about me.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That Michael made.
Sure.
So I'm just, I think the reason to do it is so that it's all out there. It's honest. It will leave people with big questions, and they should be asking those questions.
Well, it's not all out there.
Right.
You did hold some cards close to your chest. And
one card.
Well, there's a few.
Okay.
I want to.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, I want to get to that as well. Obviously, the culmination and the pinnacle sort of moment, the critical mass of this movie, where it ends up peaking, is you dig up this USB key,
Mm-hmm.
you plug it into your laptop. Now you're sitting in some abandoned park. You crack open the laptop.
I remember.
And now we get to see, and here's the interesting part too. This is a little subtlety to, how guarded you are about this information. We're only seeing an over-the-shoulder view from the camera. We're not seeing the actual footage. You didn't, I assume, give access to that footage to anyone, which is why you're there showing it on camera on your laptop versus...
But you're wrong. You do see some footage in the movie. You just forgot.
Oh, you see the whole footage?
Oh,
I thought it was
yeah.
just cropped in, sort of...
No, you see some glimpses.
You see the footage, but...
And it's not about the footage.
Yeah, but you don't... Do you see the actual file?
Yeah. You see clips of... let me give you an example.
Yeah.
Okay, because...
Oh, yes, you do. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm remembering now. My bad. Because a lot of it was like sort of over the shoulder, but then there are some things he punched into.
I think he goes back in and it gives you what you think you want.
Right. So, okay, let me start this again. You're at the park bench.
Mm-hmm.
You crack open the laptop. You put the USB key in. Now we're seeing this massive trove of files that you've been collecting. All sorts of very interesting file names. I must have paused it 12 times to just look at the names of the files.
Did you notice how I am dyslexic and misspelled a word 3 times?
I did not.
Well, anyway, I did. I'm like, but the funny thing was no, don't change anything.
Yeah.
It has to be true. And so, yes, continue. I'm with you. I'm remembering it.
A lot of very intriguing footage. Now, my question to you is, does this footage also come out when this movie does?
Oh, weird question. Hold on. Let me wrap my brain around that for a second. No.
Okay.
Because some of it, first of all, we're talking about footage, so we've missed the mark. So let's
no,
back up.
I want to talk about the footage first.
Okay, so the footage.
Yeah.
You should have recognized some of it already.
I have. Yeah.
Okay, so that tells you that some of it was worthy of public discourse. You would see nothing that would harm national security, especially in a movie.
Yep.
Okay. Will more full versions of some of what you've seen come out? Yeah, unless I'm fucking stopped.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That is my intent as a journalist with George, is to put out everything we can.
Because there's some interesting stuff there, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But part of this is a shield. Like, I'm trying to practice journalism in America. I have been very clear with every agency of concern that as journalists, we believe we are living under the First Amendment, right? And we also believe that we have been pretty trusted because we haven't fucked up and we don't intend to, and that we have a methodical, multi-year process, not just to protect sources, which is the number one thing, is protect a source, especially when they do not. But it is also like protect America, but it's also like the truth fucking matters. And that's our duty as journalists. So George and I did make a decision, and you actually got to see the moment that decision was made. That was real. That happened just like you saw it. And we made that decision. So yes, Chris Ramsey, of course, after the movie comes out, whatever you had glimpses of, if we can make sure that it's worthy of public debate, then as much there is of that will come out. but you're seeing the tip of an iceberg.
Of course.
But I want you to know that. I want everybody to know that, because I need to make sure everybody believes that I live in America under the First Amendment, being in journalism, because it's not just videos that are important.
Nope. There's also a text file that I thought was really important as well.
Shit, you paused the screen, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
Oh fuck, I knew people were going to do that.
Yeah, and there's a note on the bottom of that shot as well, which
What did it
is
say?
I forget what it says, but it's something like to be discussed or
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about at the beginning where I got a whole fucking treasure trove from...
No, that I saw because from the Los Alamos stuff, I saw John B. Alexander's name on there.
Right, because he highlighted to make sure I saw it.
Yeah.
But if you look at those documents, understand the premise.
Sure.
I get stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And I am not qualified, as my lawyer would say, to understand its value, or not value, sensitivity. So I have to take time to make sure that I do no harm, right? That happens all the time to me. I have become a guy that people do that. Now, when a package comes torn, it makes me wonder. So I have to verify that everything is exactly as is, because then that just means it got torn in the way there, or it's been read. And by who? By our government, who is our, it's our government, or by an adversarial government, right? So there we go. I get a package. Now, this is from the person who is head of cybersecurity at Los Alamos National Laboratory. When they died, his son mailed something to me. And that's what you see at a beginning, early scene in the movie. And that's real.
Yeah, the aerial anomalies and
atmospheric anomalies was one tiny little file thing tucked away, which is what the old schoolers used to do, is they took their UFO files and used to call them atmospheric anomalies, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, what Howard Menzel would call them.
Yeah, sure. But anyway, so then you're talking about something else that I am not tracking that was in the movie, because I think you missed something.
Well, I'm talking about at the end, there's another file.
Right. Was it kind of like gold, or was it kind of like wallpaper?
Yep.
Yeah. Did you read the words?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, talk.
And it's alluding to a cleanup.
Yes, sir.
Of alien bodies.
Alien bio.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it said. It didn't say bodies.
No, biosynthetic organisms.
What were the exact words?
Yeah.
There's a word in there that's really tripping me out.
Yeah.
Symbiotic.
Symbiotic, that's right. Yeah, they were afraid that the aliens, that the biosymbiotic alien, whatever, had infiltrated the local population, which is such a sci-fi thing to read.
What does a symbiotic relationship mean?
Yeah, you get something and you give in return, and you're both kind of you're both getting something out of the relationship.
Is that thing that goes into the grasshopper, I think, and takes over its brain and makes it go drown?
That's not symbiotic.
Okay,
no, that's
God.
parasitic.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, I would say symbiotic would be more like the hippopotamus and those little birds that live on its back, where they're both benefiting.
Mutually beneficial for survival?
That's right.
Is that right?
Yep.
If we looked at dictionary?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be accurate.
Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I also found interesting is that there's phone numbers on the bottom of that. Did you mean to not redact that?
Well, we redacted other things.
You redacted the names.
Yeah. Well, those phone numbers must be okay then.
Okay.
People might want to call them.
Yeah. Well,
if they still exist.
I'll call them.
But you always hold something back as a magician.
Sure.
And you do that for two reasons: to sniff out bullshit, and as your right, usually your right punch, or sometimes your left hook, or an uppercut, something you don't see coming, right? So the jab puts people at distance, and everybody knows this bomb is coming. But then the other one's the hook or the uppercut. You hide those a little bit because they have so many knockouts from those, right? So as a journalist, you always keep stuff to, one, find out who's going to come to you with bullshit after, like names associated with those phone numbers, or that's your uppercut or left hook, the knockouts.
Can I grab that screen grab real quick?
Yeah, I mean, it's out.
I want to...
by the time this talk it's out.
That's true.
Yeah, you can read away.
I'll take a second here.
Because of time dilation, I'm going to put this phone this way so no one ever knows now if the clocks are accurate.
Let me go.
because that clock's supposed to keep you real, but I don't trust that clock.
Oh, well, you can trust it.
Really?
Yep. That's why it's there. Gives people a reference to when these conversations happened. Just like the Bob Lazar conversation I had recently. People will see on that if they, watch that.
Wow.
If they look at the clock and pay attention, they know when that conversation happened. It was over a year ago. All right, let's get to there. I'm fast forwarding.
Take your time
through your movie now.
The Skiff. Look at this place, man. I think there's sodium pentothal in this.
Not enough.
And 115.
Not enough, apparently.
No, I'm being straightforward, right? I'm answering your questions.
You are. Yeah.
Okay. If I don't, just stop me as a friend and be like, dude, answer my question.
Yeah, I will.
I know. I trust you will.
No, you're doing a good job. Sorry, this is taking a second here.
I hate interviews where you ask somebody something they don't answer.
Who's your most evasive interview? While I pull this up.
I mean, it was the first 2 years of filming John Lear. It was the most evasive interview.
Okay, but who's the most evasive interview of somebody credible, who you believe to be credible?
Well, I believe John Lear was credible at being John Lear.
Yeah, okay, that doesn't go very far.
Well, I'm trying to really think here.
Like, would you say, would it be a politician?
Public. They're not public.
Not public.
So,
right.
so the interviews that are the most evasive are like my everyday. I eat them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I call people who are in the intelligence community and they have a job to do. And sometimes they're trying to get dirt on me so that they can manipulate that later. And also sometimes people just have a duty, but the most evasive are like when an intelligence agent calls me up with badge contact and they tell me they're going to do something really great for UFOs. They're going to find the truth. And then, 9 months into these conversations, my lawyer's like, do not talk with that agency. And then 9 months into that, when I told my lawyer, oh, fuck no, I'm going to talk to him because I want to fucking find out what's going on, even if I, don't get to the last answer. It's when they try to entrap me with false information to see where I put it. That's the most evasive conversation because they're being evasive.
Feels like you got to be a magician just to navigate this territory.
Fuck, dude. I hope I'm doing okay.
All right. Got it here. So EPA form 2070-12.
Right.
Attached. EPA, what does that stand for?
Environmental Protection Act, maybe?
Whoa.
I'm not sure. People are better at acronyms than me.
Cost estimate attached.
Yes.
Proposed activities. A site investigation, SI, should be undertaken to determine alien inorganic compounds or other biochemicals have been disposed of at this site and to determine the presence and or extent of any soil and groundwater contamination that may be the result of materials disposed of at this site. Local residents should be checked for evidence that they are being symbiotically manipulated by surviving aliens. That sounds like something out of a bad science fiction novel. Like, it's crazy.
Exactly.
The word aliens is used so flippantly here.
Yeah.
It's not biologicals. It's not, extraterrestrial. It's nothing. It's aliens in lower caps, in lowercase.
What year would that have been, curiously? If people will probably figure that one out. Like the online sleuths. What year, right? I'm not asking you. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out.
I'm saying what you're doing by allowing that piece of paper to be shown is you're saying, help. You're saying, so did you look at the file structures? There were some that were like high confidence or verified UAP. Yep. There was a bunch of names in there. So this one I have, and George has for many, many years. We got to a point where obviously we believe at least that is worthy of public discourse. I can confidently say at this time that did not get transmitted through unsecure fashions. Okay, so
right.
A document like that would come in.
That's an official document.
Like it would be received in a SCIF on a certain type of line to get it in from a confidential, I'm going to say the word with a big C is confidential because I'm not qualified to say the other C word, confidential, into another confidential area. You reading between the lines?
Yeah.
Okay, so there we are. And then I know that there was a reaction in that room. And obviously somebody thought that, fake or not fake, that it was worthy of possibly removing that from that confidential place where it comes to a journalist. So that's a big risk to take for bullshit.
Yeah, that's a crime.
Here now, the other side of yes, it is a crime. The other side of the coin, but not by me.
Sure, no.
But that's a big risk.
But that's a big risk.
That's a crime.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't matter what that is.
No, you smuggled something out of a skiff.
So that's real. Now, the other side of the coin is, I also know from personal experience, not in this case, because the duration of which I sit on material and bullet test it and go as far as I can, and then I can't go any further without compromising things. So I get to a point where I have to stop, okay? The other side of that coin is that I also know, not a prank, I also know that there is intentional disinformation given to real, actual, unknowing people in that confidential setting.
So passage material.
Okay, there we go. So for your audience. And that is also real. This is not that, right? This is not passage material. So now I am spinning. I'm spinning, right? And I'm like, okay, this is not passage material, but that's too on the nose. What's going on? I don't understand. You imagine that's one page out of many, right? You'd imagine that there's traceable things like bank account numbers to black programs. You'd imagine. So if I imagined that.
So this is not the only piece of paper that was.
No.
Okay. There's a whole other set of files attached to that.
Allegedly.
And is that what we're seeing at the end of this frame here? Is that like all these other biologics that are in this folder? Right. So there's quite a few.
Folder.
Yeah.
Cache number 4.
Wow.
Cache number 4.
Mm-hmm.
So as time progresses, you never revisit a cache unless you have to. Okay. So as you add to caches, your files grow bigger, right? So I think I have a little fear in me right now. So I'm not stuttering. I'm trying not to stutter.
Fair.
So I'm like trying to speak thoughtfully. And that's hard for me sometimes. What you see is what you get, dude, from the heart to the mouth. No filter. But I'm trying to put a little filter here. So your core question is maybe, why is that in the movie? For what purpose? And the other core question is probably, do you trust it? Am I accurate? Are those two important questions to you?
Yeah, those are both things I'm curious about.
Okay. So I trust that is a memo that was never supposed to be in public domain. I trust that, for whatever that means. That I know. I allowed it to be in the movie because I think it is worthy of public discourse and investigation. And I have reached my limit for now. And I am hoping that with the tiny bit that is there, we're going to learn what's true and not true about that page.
Is this the biggest release, in your opinion, that you've been a part of? This particular document here, do you think?
I have not been a part of the release of that document. All you see is a page on a movie.
Yes, but if this document were to be released, if this document were to find itself...
No.
No.
There's a lot about to happen.
Really?
Yeah. And not just, I'm not talking about just me and George Knapp. that there's when I say there is an army of whistleblowers ready to come forward, I went on the news and I said there are 3 firsthand people willing to raise their hands. Now, we can debate all day what firsthand means, but when I say there's an army of whistleblowers, that's, to me, an army is more than 12. It's more than 24. It's more than 36. I'm not. That is a true statement. That is a factual statement. So is this the biggest? No, this is just a piece of paper that requires participation with magic with a K.
Mm.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I mean, that's obviously going to be, that just to like get off that last document before we move on.
Fuck.
It's one of those, to me, it's one of those things that like, those old MJ12 documents. Those,
yeah.
That just read
absurd.
They're, the Psalm 1.
Oh, let me back up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fucking absurd.
Absolutely.
Yes, it's silly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's silly.
It's silly.
It's whimsical. The whole, symbiosis thing was so weird. I don't even know what to make of that.
Where I live in California, there are people who've spent 30 years plus running companies for disposal, aerospace disposal. And if you were to infiltrate their ranks, you would find out that it is a known thing that there are what they'll call them organic and inorganic compounds that have to be driven.
What's an inorganic compound that can act as like some symbiotic, have a symbiotic relationship with humans?
What do you know about carbon-based life versus other forms of life?
Right, but
symbiotic,
even other forms of life is still organic.
Cybernetic.
Inorganic. So you're thinking synthetic, like some type of like.
This is above my pay grade, but I'll say this.
Just we're speculating.
Okay.
Here.
Oh, speculating.
Like, what are we talking about?
Okay.
AI robot aliens?
Okay, so how the theory goes is that just as we print liver, heart cells, organs in space, which we do, you can print biologics. So cybernetic, if people have a dictionary, because I don't know for sure, but cybernetic would be this idea of like an organic compound that at its core is like a robot, right? So an artificial intelligence within a biological bag, right? So the idea with like the Greys or whatever, people often say, so they're like basically manufactured beings, right? And they're cybernetic, so they're organic.
To me, cybernetic means like wires and stuff because.
Maybe it does.
Because they're saying inorganic.
Well, that's different. We'll get into that. But you asked.
Because inorganic means.
Well, I don't know.
Not an organism.
Look, you do the math. What I'm telling you is that there are people that transport from California and I've seen them, these buildings that are nondescript and they have like high security and you would never know what goes on in those buildings unless you get people that go inside. And those people that go inside in full hazmat suits, right? Sometimes they will do a cleanup and they will package it up. And now, depending on its classification, they will then create lists. And the lists, if it's unclassified material, it's a very specific type of thing. 3.3% this, 3.4% that. I mean, everything's listed. Totally different protocol of classification for other stuff. If something is, top secret or above, as we commonly know it, totally different protocol. But either way, that shit's going inside of trucks. It is going to oftentimes, most often than not, Dugway, where they have a special burner. And that burner is a what is it called? Like it doesn't
non-combustion?
High, like super hot.
Right.
What it does is it's a where it permeates out, whatever the word is.
Okay.
there's a word, a really good word, and it basically means that it doesn't leave that containment.
Okay.
Right? So even to the point where you'd crush up the carbon filters and
Just swallow everything.
So it swallows everything. So it's non-permeating. It doesn't go out, right? And, you talk to people who have done this for their lives, and they're part of this little club, and they'll walk in with like a full-on hazmat and where's the bathroom? I mean, it's like right out of a comedy, right? Like, where's the bathroom? And then like people inside, they don't see the sunlight a lot in a lot of ways. They're really, but if you're in there, you must be on the level, because if you're on the level, if you weren't on the level, you wouldn't be in there. And then they're showing you a fucking sphere that's fucking just hovering, and you're like, how does that happen? You know what I mean? How does that? Whoa, that's pretty cool. Where's the bathroom again? But they just can't stop. They get it off their chest. They can't stop because they don't have a lot of people to talk to that are new faces, right?
Yeah.
So then you collect this stuff, and then you take it out, let's say to Dugway, the town, there's this burner out there, and you got a list that doesn't say shit because it's, because of classification, and you just, you wouldn't really know tons of, all the chemicals you deal with, organic and inorganic compounds, which we'll figure out later. And you take it, I'd be like, well, so what's the deal? What's the deal if it's a known secret that you are moving what you're saying are alien organic and inorganic compounds? We're not talking like rocket fuel that needs to be like, perfectly fixed and, run off from this or that. We're talking aliens here. Okay. So if that was true, right, then I'd be like, how do you know? Like, how do you know that that is true? And somebody would say something like, and I'm like, why? Like, why is it so harmful? Other than, I get secrecy, but that's not what you're doing. You're doing destruction. So like, why? And they would say something exactly like, because of its ability to alter human DNA. And I would be like in a barbershop getting a haircut being like,
what?
Can you say that one more time so I can verbatim understand that? Because of its ability to alter human DNA.
Kind of like an RNA thing.
I don't know, dude. I'm not a fucking smart pants guy. I'm not a smarty pants guy. So all that to say is that even within these circles of trust, there is this known thing that humans can't keep their fucking mouths shut. And human beings are the greatest leak to security than any document, photo, image, video. It's always human beings. And there are consequences. There are consequences to speaking outside of school. And sometimes they're covert, sometimes they're overt, sometimes they're inert, or they appear to be. But there are consequences. And sometimes the consequence is just the pain you feel, that the crushing weight of what you know to be true and can't say is going to destroy and snap your legs and destroy your humanity. And I've seen that pain in people's eyes, and it's not a way to live, man. You cannot live. You're not free. You don't have freedom of thought. You don't have freedom of thought because you don't have freedom of speech. Without freedom of speech, you can't have freedom of thought. And that's what's at stake with the UFO game.
All right, Jeremy. Thank you. We're going to answer some questions from the audience.
Easy question.
All right. This is it's part of the membership here. If you join and become a member, one of the many perks that you get is you're able to potentially have one of your questions answered by our guests, which we post in the Discord, and then you can go see that. So the first one here, I mean, I don't know how you're going to answer this one, but this is
Neither do I, because I don't know the question.
It's a good question.
The fuck? Oh.
By Gislain says, what would be the most smoking gun evidence you would like to release but can't?
It's a great fucking... Did you time that question like Zoltar?
Did
you time that?
No.
Okay, then I finally get to do my joke on Chris Ramsey, which he'll only be the only one really that understands. All cards on the table, fuckhead. I'm gonna risk a Bob Lazar migraine by taking my glasses off. It's gonna fuck me, but the lights are bright in this skiff. Okay, no armor. What would be the most smoking gun evidence you would like to release but can't? That would be clear as day UAP filmed by satellite that were doing reconnaissance on adversarial and foreign nations' assets. And I do not have that. In fact, I have nothing. And I've made sure of that. I have nothing. Nothing at home, nothing on my phone, nothing on my computers. I have nothing. However, I would love that smoking gun evidence, which does exist. I have seen it. So have other people that you know. And I'm not talking about one piece of footage. I'm talking about a lot of footage. But it is not mine to share.
What does it feature? Does it feature a disc, a tic tac, a
We're
tube?
talking about a lot of different footage, Chris.
Tell me. I don't want to know about where it is. I don't want to know about any. I want to know what is on these videos.
Yeah.
Is it a triangle?
There are hundreds.
Tell me one.
I just did.
You said hundreds. Give me one.
No, but I did before. So I told you satellite footage, or maybe I'm going back in time, of 2 discs going by an adversarial nation's ship. Submarines are way more sensitive, by the way, positions.
These are discs? Silver discs?
They appear to be lenticular in nature.
Okay.
Not just orbs, not circular. But I mean, look, no one piece, I learned this a long time ago. George Knapp and I released absolute scientific evidence of instantaneous motion. It's the first time in your life and mine and the world's that publicly there's a piece of footage that has precedent, has origin, it has pedigree, and it is military filmed, and it shows you instantaneous motion. Now, I could be wrong one day, and I'm asking the public to bullet test that theory, because our own government believed that is a display of instantaneous motion. That's the piece that definitely whoever the controllers didn't want out. The others were like balloon tests. Here's this, here's that, here's this, here's that. That one is important, and I think it will be seen that way in history. Or I'm wrong. And guess what? If I'm wrong, so was our entire intelligence community within the United States. And so I feel like I've put pretty good steps forward for people, man. Yeah. No one piece of footage has ever convinced me. It's the crushing weight of the cumulative footage, and I hope the public gets to see more and better.
I'm going to pin you down on this.
Okay.
I want to know more about this footage that you allude to. I've heard people like Lou Elizondo talk about footage. I've heard people in Congress mention it recently that they've seen footage. What's on? Give me 5 examples.
Well, I've given you 13.
Well, I want like clear as day.
I've physically given the public with George Knapp 13 assets that you were never supposed to see.
But you said clear as day. Those aren't clear as day.
Clear as day. Okay, so let's split another hair. So clear as day.
Clear as day to me is Independence Day, like coming out of the clouds. That's clear as day.
I'll promise you this. If I ever saw, obtained, and was able to release clear as day, Independence Day, hilarious, piece of footage, and even if it's not clear as day, I would release it. George Knapp would release it. We'd release it.
I know that, but I just want to know details. Like, okay, because
like, what have I seen?
Because for me, it's more about like what the craft looks like. Because I get that there's sensitive areas, and then you can't give that up. Fine, I'm resigned to being very okay with not endangering people's lives by putting out information. Fine. You said you've seen footage.
Yes.
That is very clear.
In fact.
I want to know, do you see markings on these craft? Is it that clear?
No markings have I ever seen.
Okay. Are you referring to craft that are of the triangular nature?
Well, yeah, sure. There's triangles, there's tic-tacs, there's ovals, there's spheres.
And that you've seen?
Yes.
You've seen clear?
100%.
How clear are we talking? Are we talking
craft?
Are we talking iPhone footage?
Okay.
Are we talking
so
that clear, or is it all IR stuff?
Let's split another hair.
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, you keep saying craft.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know that's true.
Sure. Fine.
Okay.
Fair.
No. Very fair.
Yeah.
Because you will see. I hope you will see all 5 observables.
Okay.
I showed you one. George and I've shown you one. Clear as fucking day. Let's let people dissect that first and make sure it is. Okay. Military footage is always going to be through military assets. those assets are going to be, at best, full motion video. Full motion video is the overlay of a bunch of types of sensors where then it creates for you night or day a clear, full, high resolution image. Example, the Mosul orb.
Yes,
Okay.
that's a great high definition image.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
okay, so that's your barometer. So now I'm understanding your...
Yeah,
so
color,
okay.
It has texture, it has
okay.
depth.
Yeah. So you've got thermal, which is heat. It's sensing the heat. You
Yeah.
have it's IR, but like you think of like green. So you think about through, So that's like an amplification of light, a little bit of heat. And then you've got full motion video.
Yep.
And then you have sometimes satellites, which take something like full motion video. So you would say that's clear as day because the capability of satellite to come in and like read a Coke can, they used to say in the 80s.
Sure.
Okay. So that exists. And so what you're looking for is full motion video.
There's this video, sorry to interrupt you, but there's this video of, and this gets brought up a lot in these discussions and these debates.
Coming in from space?
No, there's this video of a jet sort of fending off a Russian attack or something, right? And it's like blasting something, but it's so clear. It's like the clearest 4K footage you can see.
Yeah.
And we're seeing this from an airplane.
Wow.
And yet the footage that we get is like
why do you think that is? Can you say the words immaculate constellation with me?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So why do you think that is? Because of immaculate constellation? I'm fucking with you right now.
I don't know. I don't know why. And that's part of the question is like, why are we getting this grainy infrared, FMV when there exists footage like this?
So
there should be.
Let me walk you through it. It's real fucking simple. Okay. So I get calls. I got a call. I need to walk you through it if you want to know the answer.
I absolutely do.
Here we go. So I get calls from kids and their one sole job is to look at live feeds of Reaper drones. And they work at, I don't know, Wright-Patterson, let's say. It's a good place, generic. They do a lot of that there. And these kids will say to me, holy fuck, you're so reachable. And I'm like, yeah, that's the point. And they're like, well, check it out. First time in my career, I know I'm young, but like, for 10 years, I've been, had this job. And this is the first time in 10 years when we saw clear as day discs, UFOs, and they were doing this crazy fucking shit. And there was a whole bunch of them. And we don't know how to classify them. What do you write? So we debated inside of this Skiff for 3-4 hours. We finally come up with the designation and we're writing it down and we just want to replay it one more time. And for the first time in 10 years, you normally can go back in 10-minute chunks, 10-minute chunks, 10-minute chunks. Poof, it's not there. This is a real call.
In real time.
Almost real time. I go back to thinking what Matthew Brown said, if he's telling us the way it is, and if he's right, which are two different things. The way it is he understands if he's right. And he said that we now have sophisticated ways, this is the smallest thing he said, to extract that data.
Right. With
so
AI.
that it does. Right. Now, I'm going to answer your question, but go with me here. I'm going to give you one more example. Real world. So during the height of the drone incursions on the East Coast, there is a sensitive, critical infrastructure facility that has to do with energy. And I got word that there was lifting out of the water in a bay with cameras near this facility that were so high definition that it's like perfect footage because you need security at this facility. And a pyramid comes up, pyramid by triangular by angle of observation, pyramid in shape. Okay.
Like a tetrahedron.
It lifts
three-sided pyramid.
Lifts up out of the water, rotates, I think that's 90 degrees, goes over this base and hovers for maybe 10 hours.
Whoa.
Goes back, goes into the water. And there's what's called the Honeywell system, okay, that is used by Department of Energy. And in the Honeywell system sits this file. And it's like burning a hole in the brain of a number of people. Remember, during the height of all this. So George and I we contact FBI because we see in the papers they're being stonewalled. And we say, look, we have an individual who knows that you're being stonewalled and thinks you need something. This person's in agreement that they trust me and George, so we better not fuck this up. If there's no repercussions, he wants to do the right thing for America, then you guys in the FBI, can we do this dance? And finally, it's like, yes, we can do this dance. And the second that they said, yes, we can do this dance, and I go for this dance to be done, and this is like high trust that I have with somebody I care about and love.
Understood.
Okay. When the agreement is made, that footage doesn't go missing. It's taken from that system. And I just found out by the DOE. So think about that. I'm setting you up for your answer now. Okay, think about it. So why are we not seeing the good footage? Is your basic question. Everybody wants to know that. Why are we not seeing the full motion video, satellite full motion? That's part of it. Full motion video. What you're looking for is FMV, full motion video from a satellite. High fidelity, you call it. Color, day or night, doesn't matter. Color, clear. A craft. Let's say a craft. Why don't you see it? Well, George and I have given you 13 assets. What's different about those 13 assets? The number of people that have access to those 13 assets or whatever is very small for most of it. But it gets bigger and bigger when products get delivered in search of answers outside of the intelligence community.
Sure.
But that high fidelity shit, how many people do you think not only A, have visual access to it, B, would ever break their oath about fucking anything? Now we're getting a small population. C, have cause to break it, smaller. D, thinks about breaking it. And finally, what comes after D? Fucking E, takes the risk personally to give that to a journalist who never fucking asked for it. Now we're talking about almost nobody.
Yeah, one person.
So why aren't you seeing it, Chris? Because the pool is tiny unless there's some mandate to be honest. Now, why would there ever be a mandate to be honest about UFOs? Because after that,
all we need is one, man. It feels like
no, but you're wrong.
5-hour video of a pyramid floating over the Department of Energy.
That's just ours.
I mean, that's ours?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, there are so many ways to puncture the truth.
Oh, I see.
It doesn't matter what you do. I'm saying to everybody, I've never solicited in my life. I'm telling everybody, don't do it. There's other ways the truth can come out. We don't need our government and our military to figure out the truth. They don't fucking know the truth.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line. Bottom line is, what do you tell people if you don't know? And what if...
That's true, yeah.
What if you kick a sleeping dog? What happens then? What does the dog do to you?
Yeah, bites you.
Did that answer your question?
Pretty much.
Okay.
In a way. I'm not satisfied, but it answered my question.
Well, you don't, Chris, okay, here we go. You don't see it because there's so many limited people that actually have access to that have motivation, then will leak
No,
it.
I know. And
why would you leak it
You
out?
eloquently answered that question. I find myself frustrated regardless of the answer.
Well, join the fucking club.
I know. And I'm not even that frustrated. I'm vocalizing the frustration of people, who have come before me. I'm just happy to talk about it, to be honest. Like a story like that, especially with a floating pyramid. I mean, sure, seeing the actual thing would like rock my world, but a story like that for me kind of has the same effect. I go, oh my God, like that is...
Chris, when people see UFOs for themselves, undeniably, does it rock their world?
I would think so.
Sometimes it really doesn't, Chris.
Yeah, well, sometimes it does.
Okay, fair enough. Touche, as they say in sword fighting.
Okay. Oh, this is a really good question by Kizane.
Cool name, Kizane. thank your mama and papa. God, man, you make me, whenever I see shit you got, it makes me want one.
I'll give you the link.
What the heck?
Do you feel there's any information that you or George have kept from each other? Or is it all full transparency?
We keep stuff from each other to protect one another, seldomly, but assuredly.
Cool. Interesting. I would love to ask George that question one day too. See if he has the same answer. And he goes, no, of course not. Because
he might
no,
have
I'm an
reason
open book. No, I would assume he does too.
He might have reason to say that then.
This is one we kind of answered during the podcast, but I thought it was
with a quicksand floor. Someone once said to me.
This is by T.H. Perry.
They literally say to you sometimes, like some of the intel guys, when they're working against you, they warn you before, and they say, Hall of Mirrors, man. Nothing is as it appears. How you doing?
Right.
I mean, I'm just like, fuck.
Yes.
What do you do with that, man? Okay, go ahead.
What do you think really happened to General McCasland? T.H. Perry. Okay, now we're getting into speculative territory because I know that you can't answer that because you have no idea.
Know.
But what's your gut say?
Well, that he's missing.
Yeah. Something bad happened to him?
Oh, yeah. If you mean by being murdered, bad, yes. I believe he was murdered. I do. And I have cause to believe that.
What cause?
People that know far more about it than I do, who I trust and shouldn't have mentioned shit to me. That's all I got for you, man.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm so let me back up. McCasland. Man, that's a real human, man.
Yeah.
With real family. And there's a pattern of people disappearing and their bodies being found later. Because exposure oftentimes masks causality of death. And it's fucked up. And there are cases the public doesn't know about. And George and I are on a couple of them. And some of them are older, right? But it's a pattern, and it's really gnarly. And I will say that there are people who, if they weren't dead, were willing to testify. And they would have testified. And I don't know, like you would probably.
Well, you mentioned that in the movie.
I did.
That someone.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few people, but a couple things burn in the back of my brain. And I don't know if they're related, but it's horrible fucking timing.
Do you feel a sense of like personal guilt for that?
No, I'm not close to those cases.
Okay.
Personally. And my wife told me, you make your own decisions and you have to contend with that. You have to wrestle with that. But other people make their own decisions and they're full on adults and they have to contend with that.
That's right.
So I can't hold that. And I'm not personally close to any of those cases. I've been asked to be close to them and I don't feel it's right for a number of reasons.
Sure. Well, that's good advice that your wife gave you. I'll tell you that.
She's a mystic.
This one I think is on everybody's mind, so we'll go with this one here.
Everybody's but mine or something. Planet Earth, the greatest show in the solar system.
Like cause, can you tell us more about the claim that the government will falsely say that a craft is slowly making its way to Earth?
Oh, shit.
Can
I say more than I already said? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, you kind of said, that you were told in some capacity that a craft that certain people would alarm us about some impending,
I sure did fucking say that in January. Back in. Yeah.
Right before.
6 months before.
The 3i Atlas.
became popularly understood.
Yeah.
Can I say more? So, it really bothers me. I've said more, and I guess I haven't said it loud enough or clear enough. So yeah, I'll say more again. I've already said how I came to that conclusion. I've said it 1 billion times. I'm not hiding anything about how I came to that conclusion. I am not psychic. I make the joke, I don't know when my coffee pot's going to go off, even when I set the time, because I have no predictive ability. The reason I said that is because I was pressured for a long time for my mouth to be used for what I considered a false narrative. The false narrative being that there was a craft slowly making its way to Earth. I think they said like 2027 or 2036, leave a big window so everybody has to fucking guess. And if it doesn't happen in 2027, then, we have them until 2036. I think that is absolute bullshit. And my cause to believe that is the way that I was pressured to be used as a megaphone for that idea by the intelligence community, which I have mapped out everybody connected to that one specific lie to the American public. And I just said it out loud when I was in front of fucking cameras because I can't be, what's the words you used earlier? Acting sincere. I'm just fucking gonna say it but I told the guy, I don't think you want it in this fucking show of yours, but yet he puts it in. Thank you, Ryan. So
was the person who told this to you?
It's not a person, brother.
There's multiple people.
Why do you think I would rely on my intuition?
Were any of those people ever on this podcast?
I have no idea who's on your podcast. Bring out the book. I'd have to. No, you know what? Let's not play that game. Because here's the deal. I already know your question, and not overtly, no, to answer your question. But I've heard from other people that was said overtly.
Same information. But you have to understand there's a mosaic of people who tried to have influence over me to say that with my the
mouth.
Same message.
Bro, down to the point where I have a catalog of 7 books that I will not read because I've mapped out the network of people who've said it. And it's almost as if I could go through my memory and type in a word.
Do you think Avi Loeb was implicated in this as well?
It's almost as if I could go into my memory and type in a word and cross-reference 11 plus years of what's been said to me. So I know exactly the mosaic of that information. I do not trust it to be actual and real. In fact, I know the origin of at least the mythology, which comes from a 70s classified document. Now, let's back up for 1 second, which is this. I could be fucking wrong.
Right.
That's mine and George's joke.
Sure.
I am adamant.
You have a gut instinct.
Beyond a gut.
Yeah. Well, a journalistic
bang.
Not instinct, but I would say maybe intuition.
This ain't my first rodeo, and I've seen this movie before. Now hold on 1 second, which is that, I'm really trying to tell people I don't have information that you don't have. But yeah, I just, look, and again, if I'm wrong, who fucking cares? It'd be the greatest day of my life. I would love to be wrong about that.
Because it sounds a lot like what, you can't help but overlap the sort of blue beam, narrative that Stephen Greer has been talking about as well, where the government's going to, fake an impending alien invasion in order to, take away more rights for the American people. The government's not going
to do that.
Well, I mean, isn't that kind of what they're doing when you have people from these agencies who are the government telling you that there's an invasion coming? Isn't that one step away from faking an alien invasion?
Well, no, but that could also be personal belief based on personal.
Are you saying they believe it?
I'm leaving open the possibility that the reason this messaging has percolated to yours and my ears and the public's is because that's a personalized assessment based on the information that they have. It could be that, right? I don't know because no one will talk to me straight about it. I have straight up asked people, and it's all like that weird intelligence shit where they're not saying nothing and trying to say something, saying nothing.
And it feels like just passage material.
I don't know But I would tell you this, you're never going to be told the truth straight by any government agency, and not just because they don't know it, because their job is to shape the emerging UAP narrative to be able to utilize truth and untruth to their behest. That is the goal.
And what's your goal?
My goal in what?
When their goal is to shape the narrative, what's your goal?
Oh, my goal is to try to dig as deep as I can and find out what the truth is. That's my goal.
Jeremy Corbell, thank you, brother.
Friend.
Thank you, friend.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, and I appreciate you coming here and opening up, and wishing you lots of luck and safety and health with the rest of your journey.
Hope. Okay, my hope is that this is the last time that I ever have to do an interview where I feel stress and pressure in trying to limit my words, man, because my goal is to live a different life now. I don't want to play this game anymore. Yeah.
Fair enough.
All right.
No, wishing you all the best.
Thanks, brother.